Look, I had audio already right up.
Yeah, quite fortunate. Sorry, I got distracted. Anyway, hello everybody. I am Lucky. Over there is Omega, and this is Final Fantasy 16. And bringing it all together is this week's What's Up. Huzzah!
Okay, we're 16, all right.
Yeah, we 16.
I didn't even have time to look at what the game was. Flipping buttons, flipping switches. Okay, well that is appropriate. Hey, this lets me know where you're at in the game.
Yeah.
Let me increase the size on that. Okay, yeah, sizable one, yes. The quest called Things Fall Apart. Cool.
Time to go do some powerful slaps.
All right, sorry, I was finishing a thought in our Discord. People be thinking things about FGOGP stuff and like SRs and things. Anyway, we're here. It's What's Up, finally. We're finally here.
Finally.
It doesn't seem like a lot of people jumped in early, but it's probably because, like I said, Me6 didn't like pre-announce it and stuff. I've only just barely managed to tweet out all the stees before we got started. But it's a lovely episode to talk about. As you can see, and Lucky said earlier, he's playing the Final Fantasy the 16. A pretty cool game. I myself, just earlier this week, we are, by the way, at about the 1 month anniversary. The game was released about a month ago, depending on time zones. Actually, I should double check that. I wonder, was it a true simultaneous worldwide release? I don't think so. But, yeah. The release date was a month ago, the 22nd. I beat it earlier this week. Lucky is obviously still working on things. So, as such, I will not be doing a full deepest dive of stuff. Because that would be spoilers. And he's literally playing it right now.
Yeah, I meant to be putting in more 16 time, but I just got caught up in a lot of the bandits.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some banditos out the door.
What are you talking about? We're gonna do tornadoes. Everyone
That's
loves
a pretty good way to get rid of banditos. Yeah. I mean, they did cluster.
Everyone get in the fun box.
Statistically speaking, I am pretty sure that Garuda is still one of the most used icons in the game. That's not just because it's like the second one you get, but also the Deadly Embrace is just too good. But yeah, so I know for a fact that at least earlier this week, you have been hammering a little harder on 14 stuff.
Yes.
Because there was a new patch drop. And there's, always stuff to consider when that happens. Plus, you've been meaning to get more done, but we both have been slacking on non-FGO things for FGO, as evidenced by the fact that there hasn't been a What's Up in, like, 2 weeks. Because, boy, it's a lot of stuff. Yeah, get that guy to punish. But also, you've been tangling a lot of mobile game stuff, which I'm sure you'll want to hit up later.
Yes.
After rocket punching that guy into a wall. Well, sucks for him.
Maybe I should switch back to...
Oh, there's all kinds of stuff. So, having beaten the game, I haven't started New Game Plus with Final Fantasy mode yet. I will, assuredly, because I still have to collect some trophies. So I either need to go back to my super definitely very much the last final dungeon save file, or, which I did keep separate from my New Game Plus, or I need to, do New Game Plus to get some stuff. And I want to do that, because I like this game, and I think the plat probably isn't that hard, all things considered. I think there's like 2 New Game only, achievements.
Oh, fun bitch.
One of which is probably completed New Game Plus, and one of which is definitely completed on the
Oh,
Final
I'm hitting
Fantasy
circle
mode.
to dodge. No wonder I'm getting my ass bit. Fuck.
You can. That is one of the ones they added. If you want to switch up. I tried switching because logically I think that version makes more sense. My muscle memory was way too trained to the original way, and I had to switch back. But yeah, they added like a couple weeks ago or a week ago or whatever, they added like 3 more controller schemes for like 6.
I might have to check them out.
Yeah, they've got a few. I kind of wish you could just freeball controller configure, but I also get that that might be a little weird for mapping all your controls.
Maybe.
At the very least, they expanded the options pretty quick, so that's cool. Fuck. But yeah,
It's been a while since I played, so I am not in top form.
Yeah, you'll get your steez back. As somebody who put it down and picked it up again, the muscle memory builds out. But yeah, you were talking about like switching icons and stuff over there. So having completed the game and looked at all the abilities and stuff, this game is very interesting, and I think I see why they want you to do Final Fantasy mode only on New Game Plus. I mean, for one thing, the leveling just doesn't work, like stat-wise. I think somebody said they tried it out, and like the first boss out of the tutorial is like level 48. Keep in mind the level cap outside of New Game Plus or outside of Final Fantasy mode, I think even, is 50. The raised cap is 100, but yeah, so like literally designed for you to do it again but harder, and also with all your access to your icons, because New Game Plus is a real big New Game Plus. You keep all your steez, you keep your level, you keep all your items, you keep all your icons.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it also unlocks a new recipe for an ultimate weapon, if you will, at the end. I do believe I crafted the best sword you can make in base game in the Götterdämmerung, but yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. I did almost all of the stuff you can do on a first run. There were a couple of specific combo moves I didn't bother to do, and I didn't do all of the chronoliths, the time trials. Personally, never been a huge fan of time trial gaming. The clocks give me agita.
Mm-hmm.
And this leads into a deeper discussion, I think, about game design, where there's kind of a weird counterbalance with the way the time trials are set up. Have you actually tried any of the time trials, Lucky?
No, not yet.
Okay. I don't think they unlock until after Prima Genesis anyway, so yeah, it would be pretty recent. But basically the way it works is you have, a set amount of time. You do the thing. You are locked to one icon, and you don't get to pick which abilities you have. The game assigns them you for one of 4 waves, so you got 4 waves, so they give you different abilities. And I think you start with like 3 minutes every time. Inside every like stage, there's like 3 waves of enemies, usually ending in a boss.
Mm-hmm.
Almost always the same bosses, I think, too. Not like literally the same, but usually the same format. So the way you get more time is you get a little bit of time when you complete the timeout and when you kill enemies, and you get more time if you do specific feats, especially specific feat for iconic abilities you have. For instance, if you do the Phoenix time trial and they give you Heat Wave, you will get time back if you do a Heat Wave counter when enemies do ranged attacks. This means that if you want to like actually have the absolute most time for the very final wave, because that's usually a boss fight where you can't get any bonus time, you have to kind of like futz around and wait for enemies to set up opportunities where you can get more points. You have to try and drag them into a cluster to catch collateral damages. You got to wait for them to do ranged attacks, do counters. It feels a little counterintuitive sometimes for me. Like I usually have to run the time trial a couple of times before I get it. And I was just like, all right, it's already like, midnight for me. I know I only have like the last bit left. I don't know if there's a dungeon attached to the game finale. No, there is not. It is just do the final boss fight. It's funny. Obviously, we've talked about this before, but it was said that Platinum and the KH4 team worked on this game. I think you are probably right that Titan Lost was probably what Platinum worked on.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to guess, because I don't think they've said yet, there are a couple of fights that may have been contributed to by a Kingdom Hearts team, one of which is Bahamut.
I can see it.
Yeah, with the free floating and stuff. But I also think they may have worked on the final boss, because thinking about it structurally, it is very similar to how KH2 ends, where basically once you get to the very, very final thing with the giant keyhole, you're like, all right, Sora, Xemnas is in the keyhole. But we don't have to go after it right now. If you got any other bullshit to do, leave now, come back, and then you do like 3 fucking waves of the boss. But yeah, so the I didn't want to like stick it out and rough through like 8 of these time trials. I probably should have done them like as I discovered them in the overworld, but I think you unlock them basically all at once.
Okay.
Like I don't think they actually fire up right away. So it was just something I never got around to because like I said, I wasn't super interested in time trials, but I'll get them eventually for the trophy.
I think that's another one of those systems here designed to help you learn a system that maybe you're not too familiar with by basically forcing you into it and forcing you to use the mechanics so that you know, learn
Yeah,
it.
it definitely like if you ever are like, gee, I want to figure out how to like grok my whatchamacallits, get my icons, check out the time trials. They are pretty good for that. It is just interesting that like you can kind of do that anyway from the Arte Stone, but the time trials also reward it. I don't know. It's like I said, it's I don't think it's bad. I just think that it's not to my preference, but it's not horrible enough that I can't do them personally. But yeah, I've been meandering everywhere because I've beaten this game and it gives me thoughts, chat. Much
I'm
thinking, such thoughts.
I will try to. I don't know how much I have left in this game, but I'm gonna try and smash it out this week. So
You got a while. I think the purple sky ending, Primogenesis, is like the start of the third act. I think that's how it lines up. Yeah, we're talking about Ultima. Um, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you don't have anything else coming up, you can probably rack it out in a week from here. But yeah, I started all this because Lucky was talking about switching up his icons. I don't think that I really found like my best fit, like optimal layout until literally I'd gotten all the icons and like unlocked most of their abilities and tried them. Once I did, I had this shit down to a science. I have when I finalized my icon layout with the stuff I wanted, well, with some recommendations from people in our Discord too. But when I figured that out, I was hitting 500k stagger damage every time. Basically, every time I didn't fuck it up with my timing, and I got over 1 million stagger damage once. Like you can get pretty crazy. And obviously, I think a lot of that's going to come down to preference, but there are quite a few ways you can do it. Let's see. You should be, what, 5 deep? 5 icons deep? Yeah. But yeah, like, I understand why people might be frustrated about not being able to go to that higher level. I truly think that it sounds like the way they balanced things out, they really did design it like, okay, this is literally New Game Plus mode. You must complete the game first because we're going to, like, double everybody's difficulty and, you know, we're going to assume you got all your icon moves. So you can, you know, play your way from the start, which I think is good because we discussed this a little. The opener for Final Fantasy 16 is very simple, right?
yeah,
Like, you don't get your second icon Garuda until a pretty decent slice into the game. Like the prologue's what, like 2 or 3 hours, I think. That was on the demo, and then it's probably another like 2 or 3 hours to unlock your second icon. And hell, you don't even have like limit break in some abilities until then, or till after that, rather. So yeah, there's a lot of work there. But yeah, it's interesting. I do, having beat the game, I think I kind of agree with some statements you said earlier when you were playing it. I do kind of wish they'd gotten a little deeper on the combat. Like I said, I only really hit my stride mechanically, and was like every single time I felt like a boss in a fight was when I had all 7 icons unlocked and like had my full breadth of abilities. Also, yes, spoilers, but not spoilers. There are only 7 icon slots. You can do math proportionally and figure it out, but my poor boy Leviathan not in the game. I think it's like the #1 post requested DLC feature. Add Leviathan. Because they acknowledge him in the game. They talk about the number of elements and the number of icons, but at one point there is a expository dialogue where a character explicitly calls them Leviathan the Lost. So it sounds like Leviathan was not seen in some time. There are some fucking fandom conspiracy theories about the Leviathan dominant that I am not going to get into yet. But it's a thing that people are thinking about. There's a lot of fandom conspiracy theories already. One of which is related, though, to one thing, at least, that does definitely exist in game. Lucky, you remember that weird door in the north of Rosaria?
Yeah.
That door never opens.
The fuck?
People have even gotten there in, like, New Game Plus and stuff, and it's still not open. So that's clearly a cut content or something that's not in the game yet. Because I don't think anybody has cottoned on to what's behind it. So, yeah, that, like, is outright a conspiracy. But there's other stuff going on. But like I said, that involves characters and stuff Lucky hasn't got to yet, so I won't get into it. But yeah, like, I brought this up for you on, like, Wednesday. But for instance, Odin is really interesting because his iconic feat is Arm of Darkness, which just turns your sword into the black sword of Odin. And the main mechanic is that means you get a little meter, which charges your Zentetsuken. At first, it goes from level 1 to 3, or technically from 0 to 3, but usually using it up rolls it down to 1. You can improve this to get it to, if you master it, you get Zentetsuken level 5. This is the baller mode. It will literally instantly kill most, does fuck tons of damage. I'm pretty sure that's how I hit my 1 mil, was I ended it with a Zentetsuken 5. Fuck yeah.
Let's go, brothers together.
Bros. This, spoiler, but not a spoiler. This game is about brotherhood. It's about being bros.
It's about love.
Bros.
All right, let's see here. I see you got a lot of side quests all of a sudden. Alrighty.
Yeah, that's what happens. That happens a lot in this game.
The party makeup has changed.
That's definitely like it's really funny because it's just before the end, but you're like, all right, shit has hit the fan. It's real turbo fucked. We got some real serious stuff to do. We got to go kill God. Let me do literally double-digit side quests, some of which unlock more side quests. I mean, it's all really good and important shit. It's just very funny with how the game like doles it out to you.
I love how I can just find Torgal just hanging out with people.
Yes, no, like we've praised this game a lot for a lot of things, but the atmosphere is always top notch. Like really good atmospheric bed music, like just all the little conversations you can hear in the hideaway from everybody are really good. And the fact that people move around, especially Torgal, he's just all over the place. Sometimes he's sleeping behind Karen's counter. Sometimes he's sleeping in front of Karen's counter. I think sometimes he chills up in Clive's room. And, you know, lots of other stuff. So, yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff there. But, yeah. But the other thing about Odin, right, is when you activate Arm of Darkness, you completely change your normal combo string. You get a completely different combo line. You cannot do Magic Burst. But you have a different lunge, which is full of multiple hits, which is good because it charges Zentetsuken. And also your parries and precision dodges and counters are changed as well. And it's like, oh, this is really cool. Why isn't every icon like this? Because I do think that Bahamut is a very distinct playstyle as well. But Odin has a distinct enough playstyle on its own that it would still be different even if all the others like actively changed your basic combat stuff. And it does really remind me that like, yeah, we probably could have, like, instead of the rings, followed up on a side quest. Those also do look delicious, by the way.
They do.
Good bread. High-res bread, high-res grapes. But, yeah, like, I think I agree with you that they probably could have gone for a stronger skill tree rather than the very limited circles and switch some stuff up. This game is definitely designed to lean towards... I believe TV Trope specifically calls this stylish action, which I think is a good applier here. It is an action RPG, but it is a stylistic one. Because like I don't usually feel like the gameplay is getting in my way, right? Like, it's good, it's smooth, it flows. Most stuff makes sense. And as I always say, my favorite hallmark of a game being good is when, bad stuff is happening to me and I'm not doing very well. I feel like it's my fault, not the game's fault. So, that's a very positive mark in terms of gameplay. I think CBU 3 went out of their way to keep this title very accessible for the general audience in a lot of ways, and especially the general Western audience. There's a lot of merit done about how, like, they recorded the dialogue in English first.
Yes.
Some people have misconstrued that as they wrote the script in English first.
Oh, no.
That's not exactly correct. Obviously, they wrote the entire game script in Japanese, translated it, localized, adapted it to English, recorded all those lines, and then readapted the script back to Japanese to better fit the performance and stuff they'd already done. But still, like, definitely, like, presenting it as being accessible to both the Japanese and the broader Western audience, which I think was honestly probably the better move. Some real serious, gamer heads like me and Lucky might not be fully satisfied by this gameplay. We might want just that little bit of a deeper itch. But the game is doing very well.
Well, I think the thing is like I think you mentioned this game. They made this game to be quite accessible to everyone. And that's the thing. Like, if they had put in even more skills, that means that increases the skill ceiling. And, some people might not be able to get as much enjoyment out of it because, some things just might be out of reach. Like, I do enjoy, like, Devil May Cry and all those games, but I see what some people can do in that game with combos and stringing things together, and I'm just all like, I am insignificant.
And there's still some of those things you can do in this game.
Yeah.
I was never good at stomps. Never good at aerial extending with a stomp or anything, yeah. But, like, yeah, so, like, I think I personally, my perfect version of this game would have been a little deeper on the skill trees. I think it would have been a little more interesting if we'd maybe, like, directly compared the way some of the icons work to classic FF classes. Right? Like, obviously, Dragoons are in this game. Bahamut's dominant is a Dragoon. You don't really get out of that when you play your Bahamut moves. Bahamut moves are all about big fucking beams, baby.
Beams, baby. Bahamut Blast.
That said, I would argue that while aesthetically, Odin and Titan and their dominance are both very much monks and Dark Knight, those actually play that way as well.
Excuse me.
So, like, that was a good crossover. I think we could have gotten a little deeper on that with some other stuff. I am a little disappointed, right, that, like, even if it didn't mean much because there was no, like, elemental affinity, which is not necessarily a new thing, 14 is the same way, and by the same team, where just doing elemental matchups adds a level of complexity to the game that's not usually worth it for as much fighting as you do. But, like, I wouldn't have minded being able to go for the third tier, which I never could have Magic. It all stops at Ra, which is like, okay, that's cool, but, like, what if I could Dark God? Yeah. In that case, I don't know if they will add it, but like I said, one of the most requested, like, possible DLC features is to figure out what is up with Leviathan and, add that icon to the list. So I certainly would not mind if they did decide to do that. I could see why they wouldn't be able to do that. There's, like, any number of reasons why they couldn't do Leviathan, whether it was, like, a Leviathan, icon battle wouldn't have worked out because Leviathan is a snaky boy. Is it because we couldn't figure out how to make Leviathan's dominant, like, semi-prime and not look weird, like a weird noodle person?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's still a snake, or just like, was it way too many liquid sims and particle effects? Because those are fucking hard. Water is tough. So, like, I don't know if there is something there, but I would appreciate it. Yoshi P has said in some follow-up interviews that his personal interest would be in a DLC probably focused around Sid.
Yeah, let's go.
Because Sid's a very important character who's very well liked, and obviously he's been doing this shit for a long time before Clive came along, so there's definitely some wiggle room there. In general, I think, especially after seeing them AI-wise, I really would not mind, even if it's just like for like arcade and stage replay stuff. I definitely wouldn't mind other playable characters. I would love to see like Jill's moveset moved over to player controlled. I think Joshua does some pretty fun things move-wise that are really interesting, including he has his own giant fuck you beam. I think that's technically his limit break too, because he he gets the Phoenix Feathers semi-prime when he does that. But yeah, mechanically, I wouldn't have minded a little bit more, but obviously it overall wasn't actually to the detriment of the game as a property, because they got like 3 million sales in the first week out of like 30-something million PS5s, so that's pretty good. Pretty good install rate. I'm sure that's only gone up as like reviews have gone out and people have stayed pretty hyped about it. A
Ninjaneer.
These kids are great. Mid is also great, but these kids are also great. But we joked in previous when we were doing What's Up and other streams about like, oh, will Square Enix say if Final Fantasy 16 was a success? Because Square Enix has, in past years, been notoriously picky about their rate of success with games. There have been several releases that they have, thought were a little underwhelming or a little undersuccessful. A lot of the World Ends With You fans are very annoyed at their remark about the remaster or remake of that being called to underperform, because generally the fandom feels that they undermarketed that game. A game I don't think they undermarketed, and a game that is really good, and you should consider trying it, but also underperformed according to Square, Guardians of the Galaxy. That one I think may have just been like property fatigue. Like people were getting out of Marvel stuff a lot as that game was coming out, and maybe a little jaded about that kind of thing. And Square probably thought that like, well, this Marvel tie-in will be super successful. Marvel will never go bad. And they thought it would be like a mega hit. It's still like a really solid game, so you should try it anyway. But yeah. But no, Square actually said straight up like, oh no, we think that Final Fantasy 16 had a very strong launch. Oh, it was the sequel that had bad marketing. Yeah, that I understand. World Ends With You fans have several things to be nettled about, but yeah, that was a big one that they were like, yeah, we weren't super happy with the way this one sold, and people were like, well, you didn't market it. Though you got to be careful with that. Marketing budgets can get really big, so it can be kind of a case of like throwing bad money after good or good money after bad in that case. I don't know. But yeah, Square seemed to express positive thoughts about the game, which is good. And they say that they have ongoing plans to keep getting people into the game, which is cool. I can't wait for the soundtrack. Some really fucking phenomenal work here.
These kids are judging me.
Yeah, they are. The final boss theme is a remix of Find the Flame, which is really good. Can't wait for that to come out. I believe Soken has said that he intended Find the Flame as like Clive's personal theme, which is good because it's ballin'. A lot of characters have leitmotifs and notes and stuff that are used, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, like it's a lot of good stuff out there. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts and stuff. People probably want me to lay some thoughts about the end of the game, and I can do that without spoiling. I don't know if it's like really controversial. There are apparently some people who really do not like the ending. I am not one of those people. What's the best way to phrase this? Final Fantasy 16, which should not shock anybody, has a very Final Fantasy ending. I would give you numbered Final Fantasy games the ending of this game resembles, but Lucky has played some of those games, so I can't do that. He'll figure it out. But we can come back to this conversation later. But I think it has a very appropriately Final Fantasy ending. Me, personally, I have always enjoyed and continue to enjoy what I think a lot of this game's central themes and ethics are, for lack of a better reason, a better word. The game is all about the fundamental idea that every person has the ability to choose how they live and die. Shocking, I know. If you somehow thought the ending wouldn't reflect that, it does. It's kind of what it's about. It's pretty solid. First of all, the actual like lead up to the finale and the final boss stuff is great. No notes. So much so that I genuinely think it is now currently a toss-up whether or not I like the Bahamut fight better than the final boss fight. It's still pretty tight. I swear to God, this game has like 4 final bosses in terms of quality and depth. What would normally be the end of other games is just merely one of your early game thoughts. Based on my understanding of Lucky's taste in media, you will probably be fine with the ending. You're probably gonna have some fist pumps and some shoulder claps. Probably gonna have a little bit of a cry. Lie in your bed, think about your life. But I think it is a solid and appropriate ending to what's going on. Some ambiguity there, but this game has a lot of ambiguity. There's a lot of stuff that's not fully clarified. There's some things that are not, completely explained. And some of those things may stay that way forever. Some of those things we may actually get in interviews, where they clarify what they intended to do. But I think it was...
I can't escape anyway.
Yeah, you got to go to that... I remember this section. You got to go to that first totem anyway before you can do side quests. There's a little cutscene. And then you can move around the cabin. The game does do that a couple of times to you, which is interesting. But yeah, like... the comments that I have reiterated before, where apparently this game has a lot of subtlety in its storytelling, I think is true. I think there's a lot that's either left up to viewer interpretation or left even possibly deliberately unanswered by the final version of the game. And in some cases, it's kind of, like a lot of media, the Final Fantasy 16 hands you its entire story and says, okay, you hold on to this. You tell me how you feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
Which obviously, I don't necessarily want to disparage people who do not enjoy it. That is a thing that will not resonate with everybody. Some people want to take a piece of media and be like, okay, but what are you telling me to feel about this? In other cases, you have people who are, even if a work has giant neon lights saying what it is about, people will try and find something else that it's about. The 16, I think, well, I don't want to say it entirely straddles that line. I think there are some things that 16 is very unambiguous about. Hey, you know what sucks? Slavery. Don't do that. That's bad. But there's greater more there. So like I said, we can get into that detail at a later time. I know that some of the other people out there have some big thoughts as well. So I'm sure they'd love to like weigh in on their own and think about some things. So we can talk about that because I think there's a lot of thematic stuff going on there. Like at one point in the game, I was genuinely like, hold on, are we trying to like do a perspective flip here? Like, are we gonna try and like pitch that like Ultima is right about something somehow? And I'm like, oh no, thank God. Okay. No, he still sucks. He's a weird four-armed goop guy. The goop lord.
He is very goop.
He's very shiny. And he has those weird lights like running down his like lower torso and hips that just reflect light weirdly. And I'm just like, okay. I don't know what those are for. I mean, like, story-wise, there are a couple of beats in the finale that I'm not like the hugest fan of, but it's the finale, so it doesn't really matter. The game, ends. Yeah, all my homies hate Ultima. Also true. I think in general, like, I don't know for sure if there will be follow-up DLC for sure. I mean, probably I think there'll be something at this stage, given how the game has gone and like saying they've got like an 18-year plan to move stuff. Square's interested in getting more sales. I think there will be more pushes. And obviously the game will eventually come out on PC. So like there'll be some notes there, but it does still definitely make me like really interested in seeing further endeavors from CBU3. Not just obviously like, hey, I got to catch up on my Final Fantasy 14 X packs, but also like I would genuinely really like to see what these guys would cook with another action game, or even action RPG. I'd love to see them take some stuff they learned from this game and keep perfecting. That's pretty good.
Well, with the success, who knows? Who knows? Maybe they'll put in line for 17 as well.
Yeah, we'll see. I know Yoshi P joked about that a little at the come out. Like he's like, we don't know about 17 yet. We don't know what team's working on that. We don't even know if the team who gets that game will call it Final Fantasy 17. But we're working with what we got. I do want to say, as a final thought here, if you are looking for a Final Fantasy game that mechanically is still mostly real time, but is much more RPG-esque and technical, that's literally Final Fantasy VII Remake. That game is still an action RPG, or mostly can be, and you can still play it in classic mode, where it's a lot more like a turn-based, a lot more like the classic ATB bars of old. You still get to like freely walk around, but it's more timing focused. But that one is way more interested in doing very nitty-gritty numbers type stuff. Still has all your elements, shenanigans, and all kinds of other other shit going on. If you missed out on how like only enemies can do certain buffs, not entirely true, because like technically you can get regen and protect to put on you, but only NPCs can put it on you, which is a little awkward sometimes, but it does exist. But like you want status effects and shit. 7 is all about that. In fact, I am on record saying that I think 7 Remake went a little too hard on the status effects. There's like 4 kinds of stun in that game. Which, I understand there's a great amount of depth to the system there, but also maybe don't have that many different ways that you can make the player not able to do anything. Okay, thanks. That's something that I think 16 is very good about. Technically, you can get quote-unquote poisoned if you get like stung by a bee or a scorpion. Clive will just go blah and fall on the floor for a second. And that's kind of annoying because it really, futzes with your combat rhythms, but it's not really that bad, all things considered. And you can obviously get knockbacked. Great conversation, Driss. No, I don't think orcs carry Gil. I think they just carry meat.
Meat.
Which they perhaps eat. I don't know.
Alright, I'm gonna try and knock out these side quests.
Side quests.
Side quests. Delicious, delicious side quests.
Yeah, I still did, like, every side quest in the game, I think. It's accessible in the first run. And I did all the hunts. I was still only level 48. The level cap is 50 in the start. So, yeah, I don't think there's a lot of harm in juicing up your side quests. You can't... The way the combat system is designed, even if you are, like, 10 levels higher than an enemy, he's still going to take some basic hits. You can't, like, inflate your basic bitch damage so much that part doesn't matter. And then it's a question of, like, well, these guys are scrubs. Do I really want to waste a heat wave on them? Do I want to blast them with Heaven's Cloud? Definitely not going to use a Giga Flare on them. Unless a lot of them form a line. Then I will hit him with the Giga Flare. Because there's nothing more satisfying than when you get all your opponents to line up like ducks and then just hit him with the beam, the bomb of blast. But yeah, I think you said this last time we talked about the game in a What's Up. I do kind of agree that I think like the D-pad stuff is cool, but they probably could have made that a different menu. Like hold R2 and select something.
Yeah.
Just using D-pad for stances and going up to 4 icon stances, I think would have been a little bit better. Just because, like, the one like deficit overall, I think I will say, of the simple combat system and kind of your limited options is you really have to find like one kit that works for every encounter, because you can't switch your equipped abilities and icons in the middle of battle. So you can't like tailor your kit to specific fights, which means like often you just pick whatever abilities are best for whatever. So like, for instance, this is why I always had Garuda equipped and why loads of people always have Garuda equipped, because if nothing else, Deadly Embrace is just, you can do a takedown, a deadly takedown, and get an enemy into a stun cycle when they hit half their stagger gauge, which is just good if they have a stagger gauge, which is, mid bosses and bosses. Barring a couple of weird encounters like the Dread Comet. You cannot stagger the Dread Comet. But yeah, like, so, actually, if you were either able to hot swap or if you had one more icon slot, you could probably get a little more creative. My final wombo included God, I don't remember what the name of Titan's counter attack is. Is it takedown? But it was heat wave for ranged, the Titan counter for melee. Rook's Gambit is cool, but I feel like the targeting on the Titan counter is a little tighter. I still had Gouge, because Gouge is just really good. You get that shit fully upgraded, you do a lot of stagger damage. You get your enemy with the takedown right, and then you just fucking hammer Gouge.
I'm gonna practice my counters.
Countering's fun.
Jesus.
I had oh, there it is. He's doing his beam. Yeah, like I said, I think that's his limit break, because he gets the Phoenix Wings. I get both Joshua and Jill have little missiles. It's very fun. I had Shiva equipped. That was where my Heat Wave was. And then I used one of Shiva's other abilities, Ice Age, because Shiva's got a lot of zone control. And then I had Odin equipped for Zantetsuken. I gave it Heaven's Cloud, because you want at least one Odin's ability to build up stuff. And then I had Giga Flare, because Giga Flare's rad. Real great way to round out my stagger combos. You get them up to like, 1.4, 1.5. Time slows when you do the Giga Flare. It's great. I can do a 1-2. Precision block for precision counter. Yeah, the game, very, very fun. And I'd love to talk about the story stuff later when Lucky's all cut up on that, because he's still got a decent amount to go. Hell, there's entire NPCs you haven't even met yet. Thank God for Harpo crates.
We haven't talked about it, but God, I love the fucking relationship chart and the map.
Yeah, like, obviously this game was very long in development, and, in those years, Square didn't release another, numbered Final Fantasy or anything like that. And generally did not do a lot of super stuff, but, like, holy shit, the if anybody complains about, like, not understanding what's going on in this game, they just, like, can't read, or, like, only look at what the game puts in front of them, because there are so many fucking tools in this game. Like, you talked it up, you go to fucking talk to Vivian Ninetails. She has a fucking literal relationship chart, which advances as the game state advances, so you can go back in time and double-check stuff. Obviously, you have both the Tomes of Lore and the Active Time lore, so you can, stop any time and get, like, 5 or 6 of the most relevant lore entries. And if you go back to the actual, whatchamacallit, go back to the Tomes of Knowledge, right? You can look at any entry, which are Very, very well made. There's like 4 categories there, so you can look up all the monster types. You can look up basically every named NPC, and then there's also plenty for all kinds of location and history and other weird shit. Very solid. And then also, if you ever like, I don't know, put the game down for a little bit and are like, what the fuck am I doing? Where am I going? You can also go to Vivian, and she has a literal chart that is like, all right, here's our map of the known world. Here's what's happened most recently in the plot and where you're going and why. It's so good. Again, talking about that making this accessible, right? There are so many tools to get you into this world and these characters that I don't think the game like 100% needs, but is still really good and very helpful, because like that I think is like why I have bounced off other JRPGs and even other Final Fantasy games in the past, is just because, you know, you have to take a break for whatever reason. You put them down for a while, you try to pick them back up, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Where we go? What's going on right now? Who are all these people? Also, this is a good quest, so I'm gonna let Goot speak a little. What a great little lad.
He's gonna kill Nan. He said she had to pay in blood. After what she did, it is only right. She that loathsome hop. Goots, was it? I have no quarrel with you. Only with your employer. Run along now.
Oh, hey, is that just I didn't get back there? Sick.
Happens a lot.
No.
I don't care what she did. I won't let you hurt Nan. Promise me you won't hurt her, or I'll kill you myself. Goots, no.
No, Goots!
Enough, all of you.
Oh.
Or I'll kick your ass. Oh, Granny's here and she's pissed.
You're a sight less clever than you think you are, the pair of you. Did you think I wouldn't notice the two of you slinking off together?
This is also when I realized that Charon has 2 different eyes.
Yeah,
because
one
one of them
glass
is
eye.
fake. Yeah.
I think that comes up in one of the active Time Lords.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I didn't even see that with my eyes until just now.
But I see you're the same pants-pissing craven you've always been. What was it we called you?
I think something overall that I think I like about this game is that just characters are just older.
Yeah. I don't know if that was the influence of the like team at CBU3, but in general, like the feel of this game is definitely like, obviously it's M-rated because there's a lot of fucking blood and guts and swearing. There's no actual nudity, but that's because that would have been, that's very problematic in Japan. We'd have to like hide mosaics in it. So people are naked, but you don't actually see any of the business parts. Goot's block. Good tank.
Fuck!
You great galoot. Out of the way, I can handle this myself. So, wet legs. You remember what you told me when
Such good dialogue writing, too. You great galoot.
An eye for an eye. Wise words, sir. Wise words.
Lady Charon's scaring me.
It's time to collect.
And this is why we don't fuck with Charon. This is really that dialogue with Otto's assistant. Blood curdling screams. Oh, the sub work in this game is great.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
So I get Lady Charon because you'd rather she kill me than him. Yes. Think about that one every day. That said, like, the character voices and all this, not just the way they are acted, but the way everybody's lines are, like, written and, delivered in a context. Everybody is so quotable in this game, and also it's so easy to, like, think of the characters saying lines. Not necessarily hurt by the fact that, like, fucking Ben Starr is a lunatic and will just say stuff in the Clive voice on Twitter.
Thank you, Ben Starr, by the way.
I think he even got, I don't know if he got it specifically, but like it got to be circulated so much of me that I think even Sid's actor Ralph Innes has gotten in on some of that stuff. Like I think he actually did the one ticket for Barbie line in Sid's voice. But I know that Ben started that first.
Listen, I need them to do the, if they're both doing things, I need them to do the can't be
Something tells me
what was it
he's learned it already.
it's the one that has the
I
three
got it.
mans and ends with
Yeah.
Let's get you back to the idol.
Clive Sid's dynamic is really just looks like we can't manhole, mansplain, or manipulate our way for this one. And then, shame, manslaughter it is then. Which is really, really good. But somebody did make a meme edit that boiled down that just to like, one of my other favorites is, I think we're just gonna have to kill this guy, Clive. Damn. Because that's how it is. Oh, and that's why I am very hopeful for a Sid DLC just to get it in there. But also, you know, Ben started actually circulate some of the stuff, so they both did facial capture for this, and at the very least, some of their dialogue was recorded in the same room. They were both in the booth together, you know, Clive and Sid. So like, I think that helps a lot of the chemistry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that like they got to play off each other and do the facial capture and the dialogue capture at the same time there for the expressions. I'm pretty sure all the like physical acting motion capture happened in Japan, but still like there's a lot of blending there. Though obviously, like I said, that has I think some of its own, you know, benefits. For instance, Jill's motion capture actress was the same actress for Tifa in FF7 remake, and Clive's was Cloud. So you know, they're you know, awkward sexual tension. You know, those actors have had some practice with that one. Though Cloud and Tifa's awkward sexual tension is because they're both like, you know, in their early 20s and have no idea what the fuck they're doing with their lives. Whereas Clive and Jill are in their, by the time most of that stuff happens, are in their 30s and have no idea what the fuck they're doing with their lives. Which goes to your earlier point about just people are just older in this. Like, the game knew it was aiming for a more mature demographic and was going to be, you know, the Final Fantasy where, you know, people are smoking and saying fuck and getting squished by giant ice crystals. R.I.P. BS. You will not be missed.
I thought he was squished by a rock.
Yeah, it might have been by a rock section. It was during Shiva v Titan, so there was a lot of stuff flying around. But he definitely got squished no matter what.
Yes.
But yeah, like, so I think that they realized that there was, like, I don't know. This will be great to hear in like production diaries or something. Like, I don't know where in the chicken and egg situation it comes, right? But no matter what, they realized at some point this game was going to be more mature, and I don't know if they started knowing they were going to aim for like a broader, you know, slightly older audience, or they knew that because they wanted to do these darker themes, they were like, well, this game is probably going to get rated not for kids anyway. That means we don't need to worry about like appealing to like the, you know, middle school demographic as such. You know, we don't need a character who is inexplicably a 15-year-old first year in high school, but would still be built like Clive. Which is an issue a lot of Japanese media has, because, you know, they're aiming for like 12-year-olds, and so they think, high schoolers, you know, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, they're super cool, they're best, they're so tall. Which, to be fair, when I was 12 is how I thought too. But when you get on the other side of that, you're like, huh, what? Make any goddamn sense. So yeah, aiming for an older audience, and like, yeah, it also does avoid a problem that does sometimes happen in some of these. This was something that I think, not necessarily wrongly because of what it was about, but Persona 5 did take a little bit of critique because almost every adult in that game is either a do-nothing or technically a criminal. Just some of them are criminals on your side. You know, and there were like very few positive adult role models. This was the point of the game Persona 5. It was very deliberately being like, hey, lots of adults suck and will fuck you over. You should be more cautious about people who are older than you and in power, rather than, you know, blindly respectful. That allows a lot of bullshit to get done. You know, but like, I don't think 16 has that problem, right? Like, there are a lot of people who, even when Clive is a fully grown-ass man, there are still people who are older than you, more experienced than you, helping you out, keeping you on the straight and narrow, you know? In addition to also having lots of peers and also having, you know, younger people to look out for. The hideaway is full of kids.
Well, I'm
Most
just thinking.
of whom are actually
I'm just
pretty
thinking.
well-balanced characters.
No, I'm just thinking about, you know, talking about like older characters. I'm all like, no, that'd be like Blackthorn, Charon, Otto,
Yep. Sid originally.
I don't know how old Tarja is, and I'm not gonna ask.
No, that doesn't sound like a good thing.
No.
Also, probably wouldn't ask Doris, the head of the Cursebreakers, either.
No.
Who, even though I know her entire backstory, and I'm pretty sure it comes out that she was like raised as like an orphan branded. I swear to God, she is like Tarja's long lost sister. They have the same hair color and they have similar facial features. So I don't know, that seems like a slightly missed opportunity there. But yeah, no, like I think Tarja's supposed to be like a peer to Clive. Because there's a lot of that too. Like I said, there are, you obviously, Clive and Jill literally grew up together for a big chunk and reunite. But Gav, you're steadfast, the wind beneath your wings.
Yes.
He's always there.
Well, then once you get out of the highway, there's still too like all the supporters. I guess you got like,
Lady Isabella, Quentin. Not Lubor, but,
Lubor's younger,
he's a
but,
different archetype. He's a lovable scamp.
Martha. And hell, when you meet your uncle, oh, God.
Yes. Unky Byron.
Byron is the best. I love him so much. I love that he shows up to the hideout and just all like, we're going on an adventure. Here, by the way, I bought 2 chests full of gold for you.
I feel like you need money. He has 2,000 talents. And Gav is just like, 2,000? Because your uncle is one of the 6 richest merchants in Rosfield.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty good. And he's not shabby with that axe neither.
Except when there's food on the line, because then he's going to duck behind the bar and continue eating.
Yes, I fucking love that.
I saw that, and I'm like, oh my God, thank you for this. I've been noticing that people have been like, I don't know about devs have been doing this, but they've been like, even when maybe the camera won't be on something, they will still continue the
animations.
The animations. Like, yeah. I saw one for
part of it I think is because you can photo mode's not super advanced in this game, but you can, I think, free cam a little in it, so they want to make sure that you can do some steez.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of subtle stuff. I visually missed this. I had to be told of it later. You may have visually missed this, but in that bar scene, when he goes behind the counter, I think it's either on the counter or on one of the other tables or something. Or it might be in the room and you see in the background. But there's a plate with a pile of carrots to the side. Because Joshua is also in that inn and he still doesn't like carrots, even though he is a grown-ass man now.
Oh, yeah, no, I saw that.
Okay, yeah. Look at that boy.
Not eating
He's like a hair
carrots.
taller than Clive. He's a gangly fuck.
All right.
But yeah, like there's a lot of really good relationships with all these characters and networking, and like it's good to see because I think that's how this game is built, right? Like and one theme, it's about looking out for each other and building support structures, right?
Right.
Like finding good people in your life, moving away from toxic people, mother. Doing better. I will at least say there was one positive thing of Mother marrying the Emperor of Senbrek. That means Dion is honorary bros. He's our stepbrother. Bros.
Yeah.
Bros.
I got more family than I got thought.
But yeah, like there's I think a lot to that. I also kind of feel like there may have been some deliberate subversions to some of the tropes you often see in these kinds of stories. Like you have an uncle. oh shit, is he evil? No, opposite of it.
No,
He's
the
an adorable
bestest.
teddy bear of a man. The only evil he's ever done is that when you would, play act the theater, he would play the villain roles because you made him. You know, at no point do they ever, I think, try and be like, hey, yo, your dad, actually a bad guy. No, your dad's great. If anything, the game, makes him sound even better than you understood as a kid. Because you're like, man, dad was pretty cool. Shame he's fucking dead. And while I don't think, evil mothers is necessarily a new trope in this kind of story, it's definitely not, I think, one of the most popular.
I think
man,
society right now is a little leery about making women villains.
Yeah, and I do think you have to approach it carefully because you don't necessarily want to just be like, them women, they always be manipulating dudes, because like that is a stereotype that does get turned into like, shitty misogynist talking points. But I also don't think there's any harm in having a woman character who is a manipulator. Like, I haven't heard any stink about it. Like, Benedicta is a pretty classic femme fatale, right?
Yeah.
Like, she has multiple dudes on the line. The game very strongly implies that she was in an explicit relationship with Sid. And got some other lines. But also, like, she ends up herself being manipulated, especially once you get to learn more about Barnabas. You absolutely can tell that fucking that was not a good relationship to be in, Benedicta. That was a bad one. I think you would have been better going whole hog in with Kupka. I definitely would have had a better time if you fucking ran off to Dhalmekia to be with Kupka. That would have solved a lot of problems for me. Jesus.
I think that's the thing is you cannot write. Well, honestly, I think this is like just in general. You cannot write your villains one dimensional.
Yes.
This I think this goes for for all genders and types. If you just make a person a villain just to be a villain, like that's not good. It's
And I think this game does avoid that. Like, there are a couple of characters who, for most of the story, are just like, I don't understand what the fuck your problem is. Why are you like this? Keep in my mind, those two characters are Duchess Annabelle and Ultima. So, like, that's a very broad spread that I think of Clive's mom as poorly as I do this weird, evil angel son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they find a good balance where they do actually like explain their motivations. It's just that when they explain their motivations, you look at them and you go, "You're fucking dumb. That's stupid of you. You shouldn't have done that. That's bad. Don't do that." Like, yeah, this was your past Bahamut, so you'd have seen this scene. Like, when you actually confront Annabelle about stuff, she's just like, "Hey, I was under a lot of stress because, I was, some of this you have to interpolate from backstory. It's not like spelled out in the scene, but, I can, like I said, subtext. She talks about being under social pressure and facing ridicule because she was married into the Rosfield family with the intent to, produce a new dominant of fire. And Clive wasn't chosen by the Phoenix because of other stuff, and so that was like a huge, blow to her personal ego, and a lot of people got up on her, and she kind of like externalized that. She kind of projected that out as doubling down. No, I am better than people, actually. I'm the best. Everybody else sucks. That's just not a very healthy projection, Mother. It was not a good idea. You did a lot of very bad, dumb things because of that. And I'm fairly okay. It's not my optimal ending, but I'm fairly okay with how that plot line wraps up.
Oh, yeah,
where basically she loses everything and it goes crazy and stabs herself.
Yeah,
I feel a little bad for Joshua. Joshua knew mom sucked, but like I think he being the goodest, bestest little boy that he is, he wanted to maybe try and like repair that relationship. Clive and Jill are just like, no, fuck no, we're done. I'm not gonna like stab her or anything, but I don't need to talk to this lady ever again.
Well, in
And
that
that's not
scene,
to say
Clive
that
was even
Jill
like
wa-
that too. He was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, I don't think Clive or Jill, because they were both there, are happy about that how that turned out. But like their acting is different. Like it's just kind of like, wow, that was fucked up. Joshua like was like, ah, damn, I maybe wanted some closure there. That scene is fucking great though, because she's Duchess Annabelle is experiencing a genuine emotion, talking about, oh, my poor sweet Joshua, he died. What the fuck?
Oh, I love that, and I love that moment when Clive is just like, fucking excuse me.
He's like, have you not looked outside?
And then
The Phoenix is fighting Bahamut right the fuck now. And then we fucking smash cut to the Phoenix fighting Bahamut.
And then they crash into the fucking thing, and Joshua is just there. And it's just like, oh god, it's good.
Yeah. And also then you get the double whammy because then Clive primes too, and reveals, oh, by the way, Mom, both your kids were the dominant of fire. I'm actually like the dominant messiah / anti-messiah because our god sucks.
Man,
Yeah,
you actually got the fucking genetic lottery, didn't you, woman?
yeah, if you had just stuck it out a little bit longer, you would have been some crazy shit. Like in general, like I think I said this on this was my Twitter response at all. Like Annabelle as a person sucks pretty bad. She's pretty bad. She has very few redeeming factors. She ends up, after like however many years of the plot, 20-something years or whatever, basically ends up at the end of her life, pretty close to being ethno-fascist,
Yeah.
talking about the purity of the blood and stuff, and authority and whatnot. So I'm not gonna say it's like not good that she ends up dying partway through the story, and not a spoiler, we don't feel the need to bring her up ever again in story. We just kind of let that one lie, which I think is very appropriate. But
No need for closure in this bitch.
at the very least, I don't think she takes the most opportunity to specifically be like as it's weird because like all of her things I think are in the context of like I think she does do things designed to hurt Clive, right? To fuck his shit up, like getting him branded and thrown on the front lines and shit like that. But at the same time, she doesn't just like have him shanked, unlike her handmaidens who absolutely get fucking owned for no real reason other than that she did threaten them if anything happened to Joshua, and well, he did apparently die, so she was just like, fuck him. But she ends up having like a behind closed doors meeting with Kupka and does get him to flip on Dalmekia and does invite him to attack the capital, but also like I don't know, I feel like attacking the capital is enough to arm him with that stuff, but like he already figured out that Clive was the new Sid, so like that was his real enemy, was that guy. I'm pretty sure he was told that by the Waluders, who were also fucking around doing stuff, and that will take a little bit to resolve, but I'm glad it does. But yeah, there's a lot of good character stuff, and like I said, I talked about this. The game does actually have I jokingly called it Ultima's Museum Tour. That is a segment you will get to later. You will have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, but when you get it, you'll probably be like, oh, neat. So like Ultima gets like a backstory and explains what the fuck their deal is. It's also just one of those things where I go like, yes, that's very interesting. Rebuttal, fuck you. your plan is bad and you should feel bad. So yeah, like that's just good writing. Because like, going back to where this started with Benedicta, I think they do a very good job of like making you feel bad for her. Like Benedicta was a very insecure person. She wrapped up a lot of her personal identity in being the Garuda dominant, and then when she at least temporarily loses access to those powers because of Clive, that really wrecks her shit because she thinks that Barnabas isn't going to need her anymore, and puts her in kind of a vulnerable state where it's pretty easy for her to be manipulated into going rampage mode. So like and even then, like there's a good moment at the end where Sid actually gets to see it and just be like, well, you fucked up. I don't think this is what you wanted. Whoops.
Seems the hideaway's lost its appetite. So,
I did, and he.
Kupka, I don't think they really bother to try and make him like
and what precisely will I be?
sympathetic per se.
Liver and livers, was it? Well, now then, let's hope these grand.
But at the very least, like, he is another character where you understand why he be doing the stuff he be doing. You don't like him. He's kind of all over the place. But you understand why he has these moments.
Yeah. Oh, he's dying. From culinary exquisiteness.
So,
I mean, you're eating, what is it? Fried dragon liver.
Violent.
It is the piquant kiss of the saint's bonnet.
Savage dish.
This savage dish. It is a tour de force. A force of nature.
But yeah, overall, game good. I still think I might call it a 10 out of 10, like I said, even though it's not perfect. It's just really good.
I think he likes it.
It's been like 2 days since I beat it. I'm still thinking about it,
I reckon
Mhm.
you might be right.
I've heard that from other people too. Like they're just thinking about Final Fantasy 16 after completing it. So, that's a good sign when it sticks with you. All right,
Look at that little smile on his face.
Smirkums.
I got a lot of bloody hide. Jesus.
Yeah, at some point I just started. When I had like over 500 of a lot of that, I just started, selling down just to get a little more gil.
I might start doing that soon.
Yeah, the game. This actually here's a before transition off. Here's a criticism I will agree with. Even at the end game, there are still like random drops from max level enemy mobs that is like, you found 2 gil. We should don't do that. No, I know that makes more logical sense, and it's kind of funny that like a wild wolf or a giant monster crab drops like 2 gil. That's not very helpful though, game.
There's nothing he wouldn't do for you.
I feel like personally I only ever got a really good ratchet on my money situation at the very end. They do at least ramp up, pure loot items, things that just exist to sell.
Of course.
But yeah.
You make me one good eye, mister. I don't go thinking that'll do you any favours.
Stretch my legs.
Potion today'll cost you the same as it
I will
did
strike
yesterday.
16 off there, my list for now. So I'm sure since Lucky's playing it, it will come back up. I had a few things I can talk about. You also got some stuff you might want to talk about.
So you can read. Congratulations. God damn it.
There's a lot of tooltips and item quotes. Good stuff.
There's a little bit I can talk about, but we'll spring off. I think we can spring off a little bit off of off of 16 going to 14. Recently got into the new 0.5 patch. Not the new expansion, it's the 0.5 patch, which just unlocks a few things that people have been waiting for. With this one, it was the Blue Mage level cap increase. We go from 70 to 80, and we got new spells to deal with, which is very fun. We got the new Hildebrand quest, which most of the people in the who can do it in the Mafia have done it, because we force people to do the Hildebrand quest basically, or else.
Also, it's really good. I think I literally said that on stream. I was like, I was always a hair's breadth away from just fucking off from Doma to go back and do like Heaven's Words Hildebrand quests. Hell, I put that on my fucking the bonus stream poll. It will not win.
It will not win.
No. We've gotten the 52 votes, which is about where we cap out, and with 69%, nice. Melty Blood Type Lumina is way in the front, so I think that's where it's going to end up.
All right.
Damn, from 0 to 0, Final Fantasy. I mean, I didn't call it Final Fantasy 14 out specifically, but I did. Most people who would know because I said Hildebrand stream. But yeah, 14 doing stuff.
It's doing stuff, and we are exactly 1 week away from the U.S. 2023 Final Fantasy 14 Fan Fest. It will start next Friday in Las Vegas. May Ifrit have mercy upon your soul, because boy, you're gonna be feeling that heat. But they got a couple days worth of things, including concerts and panels and stuff. But the two things that I think a lot of people are mostly interested in. Oh, do I have to fight these nerds again? I do. The two big things that people are going to be interested in is on Friday. Yoshi P is going to do the opener, and talk to everyone. That's where this is where I think, I actually haven't heard anybody talking about it, but I think this is probably where he might drop the next expansion, the next expansion trailer, just sometime in there. So that's gonna be happening. I think that's Friday morning, unfortunately, and I'll be at work. But then Saturday, he's gonna do his another live letter with the producer, and hopefully we'll be getting more information on the next big patch and everything. So I am very excited about that. Hopefully we'll even get a little release date too.
Yeah. We've talked about this off and on, and so this week's Final Fantasy 14 stream, we do multiple times. There are a couple of spots where we pause and break down when stuff might be happening and coming. God, fucking sorry, love Raging Fist so much. It's such a great you thought move. The guy goes in and you just catch him and oh, you thought you were gonna get me? No, punch rush. But yeah, I will be interested in that, and I am still interested in Blue Mage stuff. And now that I've beaten 16, I do have a little more. I feel that, and the Lost Belt's over. I feel like I have more free time to sign off and do 14 stuff other days as well.
Yeah, actually, I don't think
I also need to level Blue Mage because I'm only level 1. Have it unlocked though.
Yeah, Loth. I do believe Loth and Axe are also working on getting their leveling on. I am no longer
when they're
maxed
not
out.
playing Halo.
Yeah, they've been on a big Halo kick.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for you to get a better soon so we can go on the Halo trip. And then when they want to be involved with it, I'm going to tell them no because they didn't invite me. And I'm going to be that petty because that's how I be. So, words. But speaking of things taking up time, we did finally get done with Lost Belt 6. And just in fucking time, because on my side of things, I play a lot more gacha game than Omega does. I'm playing I basically play 3 other gacha games on the side here. I play Destiny Child, Blue Archive, and hey, what's wrong with this guy? And Nikke, Goddess of Victory. And funnily enough, something is kind of happening in all of them right now. So most interesting enough, I think would be Destiny Child, which is developed by Shift Up, which people may know because they also are the developers of Nikke and Stellar Blade. Release date when. But D Child is actually just given their EOS, their end of service notice. Apparently, it is going to be shutting down in September. No, it's not. It has not become fully clear why this is happening, but a lot of people are saying this is because of Tencent, pushing on it and pushing them to put more time into Nikke, which seems to be doing very well, I guess, is the best way to say.
Yes, I do want to say that, like, based on just the level of talking about it and stuff, Nikke has definitely, like, really exploded in terms of popularity. It has caught on a lot better in the wider community than Destiny's Child did.
Yeah. But people don't not necessarily. While some people have immediately jumped ship, they did go on to say that they will not be completely turning off the app. Instead, once the end of service happens, it will turn into this kind of memorial mode where you'll still be able to view your child and your gear and all those things beforehand. So there is that, and in the meantime, they have basically taken away paid options, so you can just buy the premium currency with in-game currency and just go ham with summoning and rolling. So it's a good opportunity to try and get as many childs and, to unlock as many things as you can before it all goes. Which is what I have been doing. I was gonna actually put a lot of time into 16 on Thursday, but that's when I learned that's when the EOS went down. I was just like, oh no.
Yeah, it's very funny because that's the day I beat it. Was that night? Was Thursday. But that's because, as you said, I bounce off a lot more gacha games than a lot of people in our community do, and I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, for Nikke, it was specifically because the game was pretty unreliable right at the gate. I don't think I realized like how early I got into it. Probably give it another shot. It's been a few patches. I've also debated getting into Pokemon Masters EX, but that's for a different reason. We may or may not discuss Pokebrain.
We might discuss a bit of Pokebrain here. But staying with the shift up, Nikke just did a big update. They do something which Final Fantasy 14 does, where the director will actually just write letters and let people know of the state in the game and things that they've realized or learned and stuff. He's done this like a few times, and I really appreciate it. Just knowing the fact that the guy is taking the time just to write a letter saying like, yes, we understand you guys are having these problems, and we're trying to do our best. I'm like, you acknowledge the problem. That's all I needed. That's all I really needed. Because I feel like I've that's the problem I feel like too often is sometimes you just feel like you're just shouting into the void and no one's responding. But like I said, they have a big patch. We're in the middle of our Nikke summer because, like D Child, they have 2 bigger summer events, maybe a couple smaller in the middle, and we also got our next 2 big story chapters. A fact that I curse and am thankful for, because I was only barely able to reach the end of chapter 22 before they released chapter 23 and 24. I'm like, son of a bitch. For those you don't know, Nikke has it's not a well-liked system, but basically every stage has a power requirement to it. And if you do not meet that power requirement, you actually take they reduced it. I can't remember the exact number, but you actually take a damage penalty if you do not meet the required power. So not only are you underpowered to begin with, you take a further penalty for it. This doesn't stop people. Like I said, I kind of feel like this was the intent, but people get really big brain with their strategies so they can work around it. Like I myself, my current team can usually still punch out a an encounter, even if I'm like 8 to 10k under the recommended power. So there's that. But Nikke, much like D-Child, while unabashedly horny, also has a lot of deep emotional pain and in its story. So I'm already like halfway to the floor just reading some of this stuff. And this is why I'm grateful that this like we were able to get done with Lost Belt 6 before this. I cannot handle too many emotional like
Oh my god, yes. No, I can't imagine.
no.
Because we talked about that. That was a fucking roller coaster. You know,
Mhm.
how many hours we put into talking about that one.
Mhm.
And just, damn.
Level up. 39. But I'm hoping I'll be able to get through it pretty quickly. We don't have like a huge Nikke following in the Discord. I think like me and like 5 other dudes are really into it.
We can fucking hold on. Can I check who is opted into the thread for Nikke? Yeah, I guess I can see on the side. No, it's not a thread. It's a actual sub thing, so everybody's kind of damn. I thought I was smart for a second. But scrolling through, you know, you got a few decent names in there.
Mhm.
Ill will toward those who followed him.
What of my ill will? Coward! Draw your steel. Lord Kupka.
Also, by the way, if anybody's wondering, I had a chuckle there because there's quite a lot of 14 references in 16. There's several recurring enemies. There will be some chimeras, Lucky,
Hmm?
that have a ram's head and a dragon's head. So, do you remember which is which? Because it's the exact same.
Oh no.
I honestly think I will probably not ever fuck that up in 14, just because you got to do it a lot in 16.
Lord Kupka told us of your crimes. You are an outlaw,
I believe it's just
a murderer.
you know,
some
purple in, blue out.
Like you or anyone else.
I am nothing like you.
Unless they did fucking change the colors, but no, it's lightning's the one where you got to come in, and then
Yeah.
Leave.
ice is where you got to go out. Yeah,
I will.
man voice, dragon voice. And so I was just scrolling through some news stuff, and I see an article titled "How to Beat That Boss in Final Fantasy 16." I'm just like, people need to remember about their ins and outs.
I flee.
He's fleeing.
So speaking of games, speaking of more gacha games, we got one more I'm going to talk about: Blue Archive.
Yep.
I was hoping to avoid emotional devastation. I did not. Blue Archive. We have gone into what is known as Story F, the final story. It's not the last story, but it's for lack of a better word, a change to the story. This period of time in Blue Archive is actually quite famous. It originally came out in Japan 6 months ago. It was like January. As part of a live stream, and the fourth PV. It's a video on their YouTube channel. It's just Blue Archive 4th preview. It's kind of wild that it is the video that got the Blue Archive channel their silver button from YouTube. In this 6 months that has came out, this, I think, minute and a half trailer has gotten over 10 million views.
Damn.
Yeah. It is kind of is somewhat regarded by a lot of especially in the fucking Blue Archive community as like one of the greatest preview trailers ever. And I would tell people to go watch it, but it's one of those things that you only really understand the weight if you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Legendary Boss Hunter is right. It's like it is our Solomon. Where was I going with this? But this is a chapter of great emotional devastation and determination. And Aharu lives in our hearts eternally. Honestly, that might be a reason for views. Some people just might want to listen to a decent version of Aharu. But, like, even now, like, I've watched that trailer, like, 100 times. Every time I watch it, I fucking tear up. I fucking cried again when I actually got the English version, because there's a particular segment in the preview where you see what could have been and then what happens, and the things that separate the two scenes are words that you say. And it's very emotionally powerful, and a lot of people love it. Legendary in our chat's also a big Blue Archive player. Robin is too, surprisingly. Like if you go into the chat and just scroll up, you'll just see us screaming about like 120% motivated. And
Yeah,
whatnot.
I literally just clicked over to see who was typing, and it's all blue. So there are a few more other people in there as well. But yeah, no, that's where I last left off.
Yeah, but we're gearing up for that. We only got the first part of the story. I think it was like 2 days ago, or was it yesterday? No, it was yesterday. It was yesterday because I got what's the word? I got energized. Because the story came out because they operate on I don't know what time zone, but it's over in Asia. So the live stream was actually super fucking early in the morning. I could not see it. But so I wake up, download the update, go to work, and I sneakily play Blue Archive at work while I'm trying to do my job. I'm absolutely horseshit at it. Because guess what? I am being put emotionally into the floor while trying to maintain, a certain work standard. It is not working. But I get to the end, and I am, like I said, I reached the state of 120% motivated, and I literally, worked, 3 times as hard as everyone else there that day, just because I am just living off fucking Aharu in that moment. Robin is a Hoshino gremlin, but that's okay.
Robin is just a gremlin in general. I would assume that because he used to be in more Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, but because of scheduling, he is not. I know that Robin. I'll save that for a future timecodes update. Robin works nights a lot, and so I feel like his job, probably his productivity is not necessarily harmed by playing Blue Archive for whatever reason.
Yeah. But I was able to balance out the work scales and come home, and I am vibing. Whoa, who is this ninja? Where's Joshua, actually?
My Lord Marquis, it is an honor. I am
I think he's standing outside.
Knight of the Undying, charged with the protection of His Grace Joshua Rosfield, Keeper of the Flame of the Phoenix.
Jody is great.
It all makes sense now.
Would you care to elaborate?
Oh, also, by the way, there's a lot of references to 12 in 16, shocking nobody. I think most of Joshua's crew here, including Jote, have alias names from 12. Jote is the name of the leader of the Vieira village.
Since their inception, they have been tasked with the preservation and enactment of the rites of ancestral communion. After the events at Phoenix Gate, it was the Undying who delivered me to safety. And since the day I left Rosaria, Yote has been my constant companion and protector.
Big sis energy.
Without her sword, I would not have survived my journey across the realm.
Rise, Lady Yote.
Yote.
This is one of my.
Save my brother.
favorite things to talk about in this game. One, because Yote and Joshua have great stuff going on, but it's one of those funny comparisons to me, talking about how different people have their lives together. Like,
Your Grace.
you know, Clive and Jill obviously have something going on, but you know, they're kind of awkward about it and stuff. You know, you know, Yote and Joshua also seem to have some stuff going on, but they seem a lot more solid about it. They're working.
Mhm.
Look at how together Joshua has his life. Got a girlfriend. Also, I think based on that conversation they just had, an older girlfriend, because Joshua says that the Undying and Yote cared for him since that day, and since he was like 10 when that happened, I assume she was at least a couple years older than that. No, it's great. Yote's based.
Oh yes, legendary. I am being fueled by that wallpaper. I do actually have it up, and it does play Real Haru when I turn it off. When I turn it up, I do not though because. So, and I think the next park drops Tuesday, and we're gonna be what's this? Who are these lads? We're in.
Meanwhile, that's another thing I should just say I love about 16. There are so many meanwhiles and sometime laters. I just love it. It's just like transition.
You need moments like this because you need people to explain shit.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's better just to cut away and have a scream of men yelling than just someone go later, as you know. Vivian Ninetales did get one in, though.
Yes. I mean, that is her purpose in the plot. Eventually, she does actually stop giving you PowerPoints, just because at a certain point, you hit a point in the story where, like, Clive is like, hey, Vivian, can you tell me anything about this? And she's like, no, actually, we are in uncharted territory, boss. This shit is weird. You were going to have to find me some new books because I don't have any fucking idea what's happening. And Clive's like, cool. But also, this scene serves another purpose. It's these nerds.
Look at that fuckboy.
Yeah.
And the man with mommy issues.
Yes.
Yeah, but so for gacha games for me specifically, I'm going to be very busy.
Yeah.
He has come to save us from the Akashi.
Who is this simp?
You guys really don't understand how Waloed works. That's okay. I don't think anybody does.
It is a gift from the heavens, divine intervention, our very salvation.
And of course, if it is compensation he requires, we would be most willing to negotiate a fair price for services rendered.
I feel like this is.
Your ignorance unbecomes you.
Your Majesty, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would swear that the fiends washing the cobbles of Canva with the blood of her citizens wear the colors of Waloed.
I like that dude.
Ha! So you do not deny it. Guards,
Ballsy.
further, and see our guests to the dungeons.
Enough.
Everyone's
Yeah.
dead, Dave.
Pathetic creatures.
The other purpose of these sorts of scenes, we need to hype the villain.
You should imagine yourselves worthy of salvation.
Because there is actually, I think, a very strong DBZ style undercurrent to Final Fantasy 16.
They like showing off that man's butt.
A consciousness to which Mythos is
They're both wearing very tight pants. They are.
inexorably drawn. See that he is made welcome. Yes, Your Majesty.
What's with that scar you got, my dude?
Come, Mythos.
Mythos.
You thought.
Surely the prince's light cannot have sated you.
Oh, the organ's going crazy. Butt shot. Alright, but that's all for gacha games on my end, I think. Only other really thing I've been doing is I have been it took me a while. I had to go digging through some shit, but I found my old 3DS. It's a good old Nintendo 3DS XL. This thing's a fucking brick.
Yep, that's the big boy.
Yeah, and I love it. Well, I have big hands.
True. Also, technically, I think the quote-unquote 2DS, you know, the one that doesn't fold and doesn't have the 3D that they made, that one is probably bigger by virtue of the fact that I like I said, I don't remember if that one folds. I think it might just be a big block.
It is just a big block. But I'm going to be real, like, I like the 3DS. For one, it fits in my back pocket.
Yeah.
Gives me the portable experience. Also, I'm gonna be real. I look at the 3DS and I look at the Switch. I'm all like, I feel like the Switch is a downgrade. I really do. Like the screen and the screen is all in cool, but God, the 3DS just feels. I don't know. It might just be me biased because I've had this thing for so long.
The Switch, I think, is in an interesting position because of its switchable nature, right?
Yeah.
Like the Joy-Cons have to hit this kind of middle ground where they feel good when you've got them, you know, held free ball like a Wiimote, when you've got them clipped in a little holder like a controller, and then when they're stuck on the sides of the Switch, which I think they are okay at, but not optimal feel any which away.
Yeah. It's like the Switch, well, I won't say the Switch is bad. It's very middle of the road, but, you know, the 3DS, it is like the peak handheld experience. It got the slot for the stylus. It has the 2 screens. It has the optional 3D. Like, you have the slot for the 3DS, but you can also put the DS in there. You know, got both your trigger buttons. Oh, God, I love this thing.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's one of the most, like, enduring units. According to studies, when they stopped, you know, completed stuff last year, 2022, they'd sold almost 76 million of them worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Let me actually double check that compared to like GBA sales. Okay, GBA Game Boy Advanced was 81 million units.
I mean,
so a little bit of loss there, but let me look at this Statistia site. Let me see if that clarifies. Like, does that count the different variations?
I would assume so, because the SP was also peak. I should probably resubscribe to Nintendo Online just to see if they got Golden Sun on there again.
I think they did finally add Golden Sun.
Well, my lord, my lady.
One day I might just stream that for y'all.
That's a pretty solid one. Sorry, okay, yes, no. So that we've got Game Boy Advance. That's got the total numbers. Let me see. Yes, I think that must count the SP version because that was still the GBA. So, but 3DS does not count DS. But like on Wikipedia, it goes from GBA to DS. So yeah, that's counting for all of the other shit they did.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was all the same cartridge. They just, you know, reformatted the hardware. But yeah, so that's pretty good considering that, like I said, they released multiple hardware iterations. So yeah, 3DS, very, very peak mobile. I know obviously a lot of people who liked their PSPs and Vitas really liked them, but those really did not take off.
Honestly, I honestly think it's because Sony went to such a weird format with the fucking mini UMD. It was so weird.
Yeah, like it's funny how like I know that Nintendo occasionally gets a little bit of flack for the cartridge format, but
yeah, but you know what?
The way our data storage has gone that was the correct one, right?
Yeah.
They're literally just putting games on like slightly modified SD cards, which is totally valid, by the way.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine.
You can fit a lot of storage in there.
Also, the PSP was also trapped in a time when there was a lot of shit that, you know, was still getting trapped over in Japan and not making it over here. I don't know if fucking Nintendo ever really. Well, I know
Nintendo didn't really have that. I mean, there were games, obviously, but I don't think Nintendo had that problem with popularity. Like, I mean, if we want to get into it, marketing-wise, I think the PSP and the Vita struggled with trying to find its target audience, right?
Well, yeah,
I
because
remember a lot of like PSP ads when I was younger were aimed at like, hey, you're like a teenager or a college kid. You know, you need a cool hip game. You need the PlayStation in your pocket for when you go skateboarding. Never mind that under no circumstances should you fucking take like your expensive portable gaming device when you go like skateboarding when you're going to be tumbling around. By the way, I love how Clive's reaction to literally anybody he doesn't know is like, sword?
sword.
Do I need to sword this person?
I think it's fine. But also,
But yeah, like I was looking at the sales. The GBA was apparently split pretty evenly. Like 40 million of those were in North America, so about half. PSP and Vita did way better in Japan, but that's because they have a huge commuter culture. They are super packed into urban centers where you do a lot of commuting on public transit. Which, while there is a market for that in America, it's not the same.
no, like Nintendo already had had the handheld market pretty much in hand, and Nintendo and Sony trying to get on it with the PSP and the PS Vita didn't get enough of a foothold. There was not enough unique games. They tried.
Chat, remind me, was the Vita even fully backwards compatible with PSP?
No, it was not.
Yeah, I didn't think it was because they switched up their media. Whereas, because of the way that the DS was designed, you know, the dual screen, they literally have a fucking GBA slot on the bottom of the DS. They were like, okay, you're also still going to be able to play your GBA games. I think it shows how much that, like, I mean, it's not a deal breaker because, like, Xbox's backwards compatibility is way better than Sony's overall, but being able to continue your library into the next generation is really important. This is why I think the PS4 to PS5 transition is going much better in Sony's favor, because that's the one that for Sony is flawless.
Well, yes, because
you have a PS5, you can play all your PS4 games on it.
Because you do not want to invalidate your consumer's previous purchases.
Yeah,
that is
a thing I think we've learned.
Yes.
I mean, and we say you don't want to do that. Nintendo does kind of do that sometimes, but I will say at the very least, they have a hell of a lot of lead up to it. Like, y'all knew the 3DS store was going to go down eventually, right? Like, and when they said they were stopping production, it took them a while to actually finish it off. It's very funny. We learned this news because of the fucking FTC hearings, but according to internal documents at Xbox, I think it was Xbox's documents, they believe that a Switch 2 or a Switch Pro will be coming out within the next year or so.
Careful how you pack that leather. Any creases or
Man, I hope
which is probably around the time for it.
Man, I really hope they update that fucking hardware inside there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why they would do it. Like, I think the Switch Lite was a good move because, like, a lot of people do straight up play their Switches in only undocked mode, and giving people that option who think of Nintendo as a portable game, solid. I think I'd still these days split my time pretty evenly between the two, depending on the game. Like, I like the ability to undock, but I also get that, you know, they don't want to do that. God help it if they straight up sell a like docked only Switch, which I think Nintendo could get away with, where they don't have to worry about it needs to be in like a tablet mode or not. Because the Switch technically is a touch screen. It's just very inconsistently used. So I think if they actually made that dedicated split, I think it would work, and you could probably get a lot more juice out of that, and still keep the price point pretty low. And obviously, if they're billing it as a Switch 2, Switch Pro, presumably it would still take Switch carts. I don't think the storage medium is the problem. It's the maximum power, because the hardware in a Switch is like 8 years old.
So it's these
But yeah, so we got a little in the weeds there because we were talking about portable gaming because it's, it's kind of gone ever since smartphones. It's kind of gone different. I think there should be room for like dedicated portable playing devices, but phones have really taken a lot of that there. Though there are some games, like I said, God, I cannot imagine playing with touch controls. But you have dug out your 3DS because that was and I do agree. I think the 3DS era was very peak portable, and Nintendo has always been real good at that.
Yeah, because it was, oh god, like it was like 2 weeks back or so, but you started talking about Pokemon, and I'm gonna be real. Most of the time, someone's talking about Pokemon in our channel for one reason, or in our Discord for one reason or another.
It's like there's some sort of insidious mind virus we were all planted with when we were children. And they keep producing it every time there is a new generation of children to be able to read and look at funny cartoon animals. They infect another one. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of Pokemon talk going on.
And you started talking about Pokemon in real life, and I just got like, I don't know where it was. I've resisted it. I have resisted it since 2011. Do you want to know how? You want to know how I know that how long I've resisted it? Because that was the date of my fucking last save file on Pokemon Y. Like, I haven't touched that game since 2011. 12 years. Ugh. I grew like 3 gray hairs when I realized that. Ugh. But no, I decided to boot up my copy of Pokemon Y again, start that over, and take that journey. And I'm kind of realizing why I always have problems with. I have problems with Pokemon. Not because it's a bad game or anything. No, this is a Lucky problem. Lucky likes collecting things, and I don't like missing things.
Yeah.
So if I don't get every Pokemon in an area, it's gonna fucking bug me. It fucking bugs me.
I think you would both love and hate the current gen of Pokemon. Because I've also been busting out my copy of Scarlet again to play like in the evenings to try and like relax before going to bed because it's very hot.
I wasn't actually reading what these were. Fuck.
Uh-oh. I mean, hey, if you want to do a life hack, you could go into the stream preview and scrub back.
I am life hacking. Hang on 1 second here, guys.
Let me talk about Pokemon game design for a second, because this might actually mirror some of your thoughts there. By the way, if people are curious, because I just didn't have the money, I was fucking broke ass for those years. I skipped the 3DS entirely. So my gap with Pokemon is not as long as Lucky's, but was pretty long. I took a break from the franchise basically from Black and White 1 to Sword and Shield, which was about 9 years, because it was 2010 to 2019, because that's when they put out the Switch one. And obviously, depending on stuff, there might be some harder to access some of those things. But like I said, I've been playing Scarlet. There's I enjoy the game a lot, and I think there's a lot of improvements for more of the fan like me that was into Pokemon, and it was not somebody buying Pokemon every fucking year, right? Especially once they moved off doing one every year or so. Mm-hmm. There's a great hard drive has great jokes anyway, but there is a recent great hard drive joke I really like because it does reflect a lot of my gaming experience. They said added a new easy mode called I'm a 35-year-old adult with 1 hour of free time every day. I know some people like that. So like I feel like a lot of the design decisions incorporated into Scarlet and Violet especially are definitely in that vein of like, hey, we want to make a game that is simple enough for kids to pick up, but also is really easy if you are fucking busy. Like, you can only play Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on your train commute or whatever. You've got the accessibility for it. So like, there's a lot of stuff that's very, very, very open-ended. I've talked about this before. I fucking love Pokemon can just no need to find a move rememberer in like the 7th city. You know, Pokemon can just do that now. You can fucking TMs are no longer. They went back off TMs being infinite use, but you can fucking craft them now. This also means you get a lot of them. They're just lying on the ground. There's a lot of shit lying on the ground, actually. You can find all kinds of evolution stones. I have barely bought any Pokeballs in Scarlet and Violet because if you go to late game routes, you will just literally find, respawning Ultra Balls on the ground. Cool, great, love that. That's the kind of gameplay focus I really like because it makes the parts of Pokemon that I think are the important parts more accessible. Catch more Pokemon, evolve more Pokemon. They took the fucking link cable out, which was an item they added in some side games where you can't easily trade them to just evolve Pokemon that normally require trading. Not a huge fan of that. Should have kept that in. Though I guess you can like online trade with friend codes, but that still sounds like that's still like a weird thing that I'd have to go on Discord and be like, hey, can anyone get on their Nintendo Switch right now and help me trade my trade for a Steelix or a Scissor?
Bold for Nintendo to assume that I have friends.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Like, I mean, I know lots of people, but one, I don't want to pay for Nintendo Online right now. But and two, it's like I said, that's always still in these day and age with gaming a weird call to be like, oh, am I gonna fucking like go online and like rustle up like my friends, especially now that my friends are no longer within punching distance. I could just be like, okay, send me my Pokemon back. And they could just be like, no. Be like, what the fuck, man? But like, there's a lot more that is accessible to that. There are also a lot of really weird gameplay decisions that I feel like are from a decade ago. There's no like, or at least I don't think there's like an easily like, snap camera to my POV button. Instead, pushing in on the right stick is just a binary FOV switch. You can, either have tight field of view or broad field of view. You can like push down to go into like first person mode, but that means you enter like full, free cam first person mode, not just, hey, I just want to have the camera look in front of me. Thanks. There's a mini map that shows Pokemon spawns on it. One, it doesn't show that Pokemon are actually spawned there. It just shows that they can spawn there. And two, like I said, I know I could go to you guys. I'm a content creator. I could do that, but that still means that I could like pop out now. And also, like I said, I don't pay for Nintendo Online, so I don't actually know if I can just grab random people stuff. I don't, unlike my PlayStation account where I have actually added a decent number of people in the community over the years. I don't think I've added a lot of people to my Switch friends list.
I don't think I have anyone on my friends list.
In general, I think it's still like really weird because like I said, I'm usually playing Pokemon at like 2 a.m. in bed. It's weird to arrange trade stuff. You just got to live your dreams. So, but like I said, they have this mini map that shows Pokemon spawns, right? It only shows Pokemon that can spawn there. Also, it's like unbound from the backdrop. If you start rotating the camera, which rotates the mini map, the Pokemon icons rotate with it. And I'm just like, what? That doesn't tell me where the Pokemon are. They're just generally in that vague direction, I guess? I don't know. It's really weird. Like, I feel like... Oh, YouTube is getting a little fussy. You'll be fine, YouTube. But, like, it's so weird about, like, things I think they did that are generally, like, more positive, easier to access things, making it open world, making it, non-linear with multiple plot lines and shit, making it so it's really easy to teach Pokemon moves, to remember moves. You have no need for HMs, at all, right? Which I think in general people think is a positive. For those who don't know, which is mostly Lucky, I think, in this chat, but might be some people out there. The way they handle that is basically in Scarlet and Violet specifically, you get your iconic game legendary technically very early, but it's weakened, so it can't be used in battle, but it can become a bicycle. So it's your bike. That you probably remember from like trailers and stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
I
I remember Bike Dogs or Bike Wolf.
Yeah. Bike Dragon Wolf. But also that as you do certain plot stuff, it expands its ability. So it can, rock climb walls, it can swim, it can sprint, and it can eventually glide. And I assume it will probably be able to free fly at some point. Not that actually matters because much like Sword and Shield did, and I don't know if any earlier games did this, but the Fly HM is just a taxi service. You just get on your fucking Pokemon smartphone and are like, yo, Corviknight taxi, pick me the fuck up, put me here. And because, these are no longer set in the Pokemon equivalent of America, public transit is free. But yeah, so like they've really like streamlined what was the HM gameplay and designed it so that you always have a resource that is upgradable if you need to do traversal methods, like like I said, like gliding, flying, swimming, etc. So that's pretty good. The only thing I think I will say is I am kind of sad. I think there's no fishing rod in Scarvi. Again, you don't need it because there's no random Pokemon encounters. You can just see the fish, but like if you don't have your legendary upgraded to swim, I don't actually know how you get fish out of the water because you can't really swim. You can kind of go in water, but not really. You get pushed back after a while. So like there's stuff they do that is cool, but also like I said, just weird stuff with like the mini map being weird. Not having what I would consider pretty normal, snap to focus camera controls. The use of the D-pad is really weird. I think it's like, you can freely change your outfit wherever, but it's like left or right on the D-pad, I think. Or maybe it's up. And there's no tooltip for this, by the way. You just have to remember that that's a thing they told you.
Mm-hmm.
The Pokedex is like, I understand why they did it, but it's weird. Like when you open up the Pokedex tab, you technically have the like, here is your Pokedex, and then you can also be like, and I assume it's because they want to leave it so that they can install other dexes because it's just the regional dex, but they might have room for like national dex and other shit later. But like they have different tabs for like most recently seen Pokemon, most recently caught Pokemon, and then you have to click again to be like, no, actually open up my Pokedex for all my Pokemon. That includes a symbol to show you where a Pokemon's habitat is, with like grid squares. The way the map works, the grid squares do not line up.
Oof.
So you have to still have to eyeball it, the rough area, and be like, okay, this is kind of where they show, which for most Pokemon is not a problem. A lot of them have broad spawn areas. But for some of them, like certain rare drops, it's very tiny squares, so getting it to actually line up is weird. Okay, it's for the DLC Pokedex. All right, makes sense. Still a little odd, that they have these things kind of scooched out a little. But yeah, so like I said, I like what they do with the modern games, but they still have some weird design choices that I don't know if whoever, whether it's the Pokemon Company or Nintendo themselves or even Game Freak's internal memos will give them to the time to develop a really great, high level Pokemon game. Like I don't know if they can actually, with all the merchandising shit they do, they can take the 6 years off to do like their equivalent of, Final Fantasy 16 or Tears of the Kingdom or how long was it between Super Mario Odyssey and the last big mainline Mario title? I think it was a while also. It's been a few years since Odyssey and they're coming out with new, properly new Mario as well. I think it's important for game franchises, if you're going to stay serialized, to take some time off and work on your new ideas. I don't know if Pokemon can arrange that. I mean, technically I think they could because they have a fucking huge backlog of remakes and shit to do, so they could do that. But yeah, okay. You're way out of that quest, though, if you wanted to talk about some of your own, weird Pokemon quibbles. Because you've been playing again.
I have been playing again. Mostly I've just been kind of just enjoying my best Pokemon life, just running around, catching Pokemon and stuff, not really thinking too hard about things. I'm not, if you know Lucky's not doing any sort of challenges or anything. I'm not doing them Nuzlocke. I find them quite pointless. But
you are both a collector and also, I think you, like me, internalized gotta catch them all.
Yeah.
The point is to catch all the Pokemon. Why would I catch less Pokemon? Well, it's harder that way. I know that, but
Like,
you think I'm fucking using Bopple the Beetle? No. But I
listen,
want to
if
catch
you,
him. He's cute.
I'm gonna be real, guys. If you feel like the game's not is too easy for you or not interesting, maybe you shouldn't be playing the game. Just gonna be real.
Also, hey, you listen, chat. You want to play a Pokemon game that's hard? Pokemon Stadium randomizers. You can do. They got a rental system. You can just rent random Pokemon. You can rent weird ones. That's fucking hard. And that doesn't involve anything other than, like I said, like maybe a randomizer just to pick because they let you pick all the Pokemon. So, hell, even if you pick your favorites, you might have a hard time. It's fucking... The 2 Pokemon Stadium games are fucking wild.
But, I've just been going around. I've realized immediately that I need to open up a fucking guide. Otherwise, I'm gonna have no idea what I'm fucking doing. Because, Pokemon evolutions are fucking weird sometimes. Like to get a Vespa Queen, you gotta make sure you gotta get a fucking female combi, which makes sense, but it's not something you would like if it's not something you would necessarily think about.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there's probably, well, actually, I don't know. I don't remember how old Combi and Vespa Queen would be by that generation by X and Y, but
I think they came out the generation before. I don't know. I don't remember.
Normally, the way that works in Pokemon is there's one fucking guy in one town whose one line of dialogue, his one text box is, "Hey, did you know you can only make Vespa Queen if you evolve a female Combi?" This is not a reliable way to do exposition.
Like, some only evolve with stones, some, only evolve with high friendship, some only evolve if they level up during the day. Some Pokemon you can only get if you evolve a different Pokemon and you have a slot left over in your Poke-Thing. That's how you get fucking, God, it was like Nincada, Ninjask, and something else. It's a bug Pokemon.
Ninjask and Shedinja, yeah.
Yeah.
The Cicada one.
Yeah. So I'm just like, ugh. So anytime I get a new Pokemon, I have to, like, put my 3DS down, pull out my fucking tablet, and I was like, all right, so what does this one fucking need?
And it's funny you say that because I don't think even by Scarlet and Violet we've entirely fixed that. Like, I'd have to check if there's a good way to check how the Pokemon evolves.
Like, usually if I go to a Pokedex and I see one that has a space next to it and then the next Pokemon, I'm like, okay, that might be an evolution.
Yeah, that at least you can tell the structure of like, okay, there's a gap here. Oh, there's 2 gaps, and the next one is the next Pokemon that I've actually got unlocked is very clearly a base level. Okay, so there's 3 evolutions. Cool. But like,
oh, they're Gen 4. Okay,
yeah,
so it came out Legendary Boss Hunter, I have a question. Did you just know that off the top of your head, or did you look that up? I need to know.
He might have known that. I mean, also, if you're. To be fair to him, I was thinking that I was like, I think Combi was Diamond and Pearl first, which would be 2 before, because Black and White.
Those are our terms.
I shall.
But I was not 100% sure.
Yeah, but I can never fucking remember. Oh, Legendary off the top of the head, they're in deep.
They're in the deep dark.
There's
a lot of people deep in the hole.
Someone you know.
But yeah, like I said, I don't think that Scarlet and Violet has solved this because this is also just what I do. I just fucking like I'm when I'm fucking around, I'm just like, what do I need to evolve this, or how does this what level does this Pokemon evolve? Let me just go on my computer, new tab, Google, because there's like 4 Pokemon wikis.
I use I think my favorite is Bulbapedia.
Yeah, Bulbapedia is pretty good usually. But yeah, it's so funny that like, yeah, this is just how it is. And like, I don't want people to be like, oh, well, that's just how it was. It was supposed to be a mystery. No, it fucking wasn't. It was supposed to make you buy the goddamn game guide. I know, because I used to have somewhere a copy of the official Pokemon Gold and Silver guide that in the back has all the shit you have on a wiki now, where it says like, okay, this Pokemon, here's their entire move list. Here's what level they evolve and how. It was just a fucking thing that you bought. Unfortunately, I think that my copy of my Gold and Silver guide has fucking collapsed because it was well used.
Honestly, I probably wouldn't mind buying a fucking Y guide. Did they even make them anymore? Would it have all
Yeah.
the information? If it did, I'd probably fucking use it.
I mean, yeah, I think that would still be in the era where they would still have a strategy guide. The question is like, I don't know if they're still in print. So that means you might have to pay the premium.
Maybe. Because like I said, it is sometimes a pain of like waiting for pages to load and whatnot. The internet.
Oh yeah, no, like it'd be a lot. Tactilely, it's a lot more fun to just flick through them. Hey, here's a Pokemon company, Nintendo, Game Freak. Here's an idea, because this would go into your merch plans. Sell Pokemon guides as print-on-demand products. You would get people who would do that. Produce it as like a free PDF you can download, and then sell it as a print-on-demand. You can make profit there. I'm sure. I'm sure that would work. People would buy that. But yeah, like that's, it's one of those questions where I guess that is just supposed to be part of the design, right? Like the games are just built with the idea you're gonna like get a fucking guide, or you're not gonna know what the fuck is happening because you're a dumb stupid baby. You're gonna go to the playground and be like, if you check out of the truck, you can get Mew.
Oh god, people have always been gremlins.
Yes. It's just that now, instead of being confined to a playground where somebody says, "No, you go on Twitter." And if people say, "No, you have a million other idiots who are like, "Yes, huh," and nothing ever changes. Twitter is just a giant playground.
It really is.
Confirmed.
But like I said, I've been playing and like I've been realizing like I definitely lean towards certain types of Pokemon over others. Like I like grass, I like water, I like flying, I like bug. And like usually that's what's in my hand. Like right now, I also like fairy. Because
Fairy's
now
a very solid ad.
yes, actually, I was Gen 6.
Yes, I think X and Y 6 was the debut gen. Yeah, they were like, "Fuck, dragons are too strong. What do we do?"
Yeah, but I have a Kirilala. I believe that's how they pronounce it. The female evolved form of Ralts, the female.
Yeah.
I have a. I gave them all nicknames, so I can't remember what they're actually fucking called now. What is the evolved name of Flambebe? Like Floette, I believe.
Yes, something like that.
Floette. Then I have a Vespa Queen. Then I have a Beedrill. I'm all like, yes, I ship them. Now Kith. I also have an Ivysaur and my Frogadier. And I'm just like, yeah, no, I love this. This is great.
Pretty solid.
And I'm just like, and most of the time, like, when I catch Pokemon, there's like, they usually go into one of two categories. One goes into I'll probably use you later, but I am busy right now. And the other ones go into, I'm probably just going to evolve you and release you. Mindset. Like usually Pokemon that people just give to me, because boy, people just like giving me Pokemon.
It happens.
See, Legendary Boss Hunter says that, and I don't know if he's wrong.
No, I think he's correct. Because I think Inkay is the weird upside down squid Pokemon, and I'm just like, I mean that has always been the way Nintendo makes these fucking games, right? Where it's like, oh, we have a weird new hardware feature. We're gonna figure out how to make that a Pokemon thing. Like obviously, there's Pokemon that evolve via trade, but when they added the day-night cycle, in Gold Silver, they're like, we gotta make it so that you can fucking evolve only some Pokemon at night or during the day.
Like, and again, these are just things I will not think of. Like unless I find some dude who says it and tells me straight up. Like this is the problem I'm having in Pokemon right now. Is I just beat the second gym leader, Senor Rock Climbing. And then I was realizing, there's probably a lot of people I haven't talked to. And that probably means there's a lot of information I'm missing. So I basically rollerbladed my way all the way back to Vanilla Town. It's not called Vanilla Town, but it starts with a V and it has Vanilla in it, so it's Vanilla Town now. And I'm just going through every single location, making sure I talk to everyone and check everyone's trash cans. Because like I said, I like collecting stuff and I hate missing things. Because in this game, people, you just talk to them, it's like, hey, you want a TM? Here you go. I'm like, oh, okay. Shout out to the person in the lab who gave me false swipes, though. That makes shit a breeze.
Yeah, it's fucking rad. And see, like I said, this is a thing that is positive that they've changed, right? Like, you still get a shitload of free Pokeballs and TMs and stuff in Scarlet and Violet, but they're all just lying on the ground. They're like, ooh, what's this weird sparkly? Hey, you found a Pokeball.
Yeah, there's no sparkly, which makes me sad.
Yeah, like, people do still give you rewards, but they're, like, dedicated guys. Like, every time you find a new area, they're no longer routes, they're areas, because, you know, open world. But every time you find a new area, there's a Pokemon League rep who's like, hey, you enjoying battles? Battle some trainers. If you defeat, you know, X number of trainers, I'll give you a cool reward, which is usually like a new TM or some Pokeballs or some other shit, right? Like,
damn, legendary. Okay, I think I'm happy at Y right now. I think I am. Although I was talking Pokemon with some other people, and I think I probably will pick up Alpha Sapphire and maybe Ultra Moon as well if I can find them.
Those are generally considered pretty solid choices.
Yeah.
Pokemon suffers from the same problem that Zelda games suffer, where a new one comes out and people will talk about things they missed from the last gen.
Yeah.
Like, I think Sword and Shield were generally, you know, kind of underappreciated at the time, and then Scarlet and Violet came out, and people were like, actually, they had some positives. And I'm sure that... Oh, God, wait. Oh, time is escaping me. How old is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? Was that late last year? I really hope it was. So we're still a few years out from a new one, but I'm sure whenever that new one comes out, people will fucking hate it and, you know, talk about what they loved from Scarlet and Violet. Now that Scarlet and Violet isn't still particularly well liked, but yeah, it's funny how that cycle goes.
But yeah, but it has been a little interesting because I'm playing in the, you know, the no eShop world, so there's like no, like, I think you can still do like most like things like trade and stuff, but I think like some of the other features have just been disabled. Maybe, I'm not sure. But yeah, no, it's like I think I'm having an OTK time. I'm trying not to go hard on it because I don't want to burn myself out of it. Which I think is quite possible if I spend too much time. I'm just going to lose interest or something. So it's just something I just... Like you kind of mentioned, just, you know, maybe for like a couple hours in the morning or a couple hours at night, I just play it on, run around, throw some Pokeballs, yell at fucking rock types and all that good stuff.
Yeah. And, you know, if you're at a point where you can do a gym battle or whatever, you know, you knock that out of the way. And if not, well, whatever. I'll just, you know, level my Pokemon.
I like the NY to go to the palace and slapping nobles around and taking their money. It's great. But yeah, I'll probably have some more Pokemon thoughts as we go on. Like I said, I've been playing for a little bit, but we haven't done What's Up in a while, so my thoughts are scattered on a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see if they ever develop a longer cycle, but yeah, probably not, because like I said, Scarlet and Violet was a little maligned visually because it does like have some slowdown, and there were a few possible game-breaking bugs that they did have to patch, but like generally it's been well received. I guess we'll see how the DLC goes.
Well, you just teleport to East Pole, hell yeah.
Our next remake is Black and White, right? I will probably have to pick that one up. That was my last mainline Pokemon game for a while, and I liked it. I liked Black and White.
Did we ever When are we gonna get like when are we gonna get something like Rhythmic Heart Gold and, you know, Superb Soul Silver?
Yeah, double remakes? I don't know.
Well,
they
that's
gotta
what
eventually, right?
Well, that's what wasn't Ruby and Sapphire the remakes of the OGs, and then they got another remake? Or am I misremembering that? Okay, I didn't misremember that.
The first you might be getting confused because Pokemon is very confusing like this. The first ever remakes were in the same engine as Ruby and Sapphire. That was Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Oh, that's right.
They were for the GBA.
That's right. Okay.
And then next was Heart Gold and Soul Silver for the regular DS, and then
that's right.
Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby were for the 3DS.
Okay, that's what it was.
And Brilliant Diamond and Pearl. Actually, no, I think it was like Shining something, whatever. Gen 4 remakes were for Switch, I believe. So we might not be getting our new remake, but I wouldn't mind it. I'm gonna be honest. Nintendo and Pokemon love nostalgia. There will be another Red and Blue remake sometime.
Honestly, what they should just do is they should just take a bunch of the earlier gens and just smash them into one fucking game.
I mean, that is the advantage of doing a third Johto remake, because Nintendo are still wizards at optimization. The entire fucking Kanto region is in Johto, right? Like, that said, considering the success of Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is not a Sinnoh remake, not like a new remake of Gen 3, but is like Gen 3 adjacent because it's in the past, I would not be surprised if they didn't do some other shit. But yeah, that would probably be like a really interesting way to do stuff to like make Pokemon regions like accessible all at once. Oh yeah, I guess let's go Eevee and let's go Pikachu on Switch. We're soft remakes. Hey, this means Lucky's right. We're due for a third Gen 2 remake then. I'll fucking play that again.
Well, like I said, I'm not necessarily a Gen 1er, but like I said, I really got out of Pokemon around after Gen 2. And I only retried at Gen 6 and then, got out of it again. So if they were to come out with that, that's me childhood, as we say.
Well, like I said, I think Gen 2 has an advantage over Gen 1. I mean, mechanically, some people are real big Gen 1ers. First Gen only counts. I refute them because Pokemon in Gen 1 was dumb, actually. It was full of errors. Tight matchups didn't work. There were literal issues with like the way Pokemon types were supposed to interact and had programming problems. So I think those games are flawed. Also, there are subsystems that were added in Gold and Silver that are really good.
This fucking gelatin is called 2 scoops.
Yeah, the fucking Flan slime type enemies are really good. But yeah, Gold and Silver added, genders, breeding, day-night cycle, shit like that. And still if you remake them again, you still have Johto and Kanto together. You have an actual, really long post-game script, which is cool. But, I think mechanically there's a lot to be said for doing full or soft remakes of those. But it doesn't work for every Pokemon game because, eventually they stopped just making them districts in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But hypothetically, some Pokemon districts are supposed to be close to each other. I think you could probably get something funny out of, I don't know, designing a game that's supposed to be, expanded, where you can, literally access new regions and catch new Pokemon, and maybe challenge new trainers. I guess that would be, I don't know, maybe, MMO-styled? In terms of, how they would roll out content. But I think there's something there, and definitely you are right. If Pokemon can kind of... What's the right word for this? I want to phrase it as, get over itself, but I don't know if that's quite true. If Pokemon can, get over some of its obsession with trying to, be good. I mean, yeah, the physical special split is pretty important, but like I said, the 2-Ed's Dark and Steel types and actually, makes the Rains and Psychic types, so, that's getting some in there. But yeah, I think 4 has some mechanical stuff that's important. The beauty of remakes is you can fix some of that, but yeah, this is why I don't think that Gen 1 is, perfect. Also, Gen 1 Pokemon were dumb, too. That's where Grimer and Muck are from.
I was thinking
They're
of them!
They're just slime.
Those are the two I was thinking of.
Also, Jigglypuff is just a ball. Yes, Klefki is very silly. I don't know why the fuck that was one of the, 600 Pokemon they put in Scarlet and Violet, but I caught one. It's very silly, but, Pokemon has always been kind of weird. What the fuck is a Nidoran anyway? I think they're supposed to be, shrews, but then why do they turn into, giant punch rhinos? They're not kangaroos, because that's Kangaskhan.
Well, like I said, I don't usually think too hard on, what I would call, theoretically plausible Pokemon. It's shit. It's shit like Slime and like Muck and Grimer and and like
Literally just ooze.
just ooze. It's just like,
Why the fuck can't a Pokemon, decide to be keys?
Who lives again?
Let's go and tell Martha the good news.
all right.
Yeah, that's also true. Brella was weird. I don't know, because they wanted to make a fighting. This is the thing, right? Like, I think sometimes people get a little too uppity about Pokemon types and relationships and stuff. And I'm just like, nah, man, do whatever. Like, because I think personally what really got me back in the Pokemon mood was I had not watched Terminal Montage's Pokemon Battle Royales because I was like, I don't know. That's like a lot of Pokemon stuff going on. I don't know if I'm gonna get that. And I was like, I need more new Terminal Montage videos. I can literally watch, there's something about Kirby's Adventure or Mega Man X over and over again, but I can only watch that over and over again back to back so many times. So I branched out. Those came with some explanation videos that I did check out, and so that put some Pokemon stuff in my YouTube algorithm. So like there are still, I believe, type combinations in Pokemon that don't exist, even though there's been like 9 generations, plus side games, right, with new Pokemon. And I'm just like, nah, man, do that. That sounds cool. You can figure out ideas. You'll make it work, Pokemon Company. You'll figure it out, Game Freak.
Yeah, just give me a Pokemon game that has all the regions of not Japan in it, and just put them into one game.
That should be very doable. That's definitely the first 3.
I believe it's the first 3.
Is 4 also supposed to be a region of Japan? I don't remember. But yeah, definitely the first 3. That's very doable.
But yeah, if you take the first 3, make it just stick to those. Well, I guess the question is do you want to add like later Pokemon, or you just want to stick to the OG Pokedexes, I believe?
I mean, that's still like that would still give you like 300. I mean, you could probably add Pokemon, backfill Pokemon that makes sense,
Yeah.
Because they always be adding stuff, So that's I think, and that's something I think that's fine is adding Pokemons. One thing I do like that they decided to do in Pokemon is regional variants,
Oh yeah.
Where you can get Pokemon that are different types in different regions or have special evolutions. Like, obviously, like the Alolan, Meowth, and Persian that are Dark type instead of normal type. And then also, while Meowth in Galar is still normal, I think that one evolves into Berserker, which is, hey, did you want Meowth to also be an anime dwarf with a beard and a hat? And now he's Steel type? Fucking yeah, you did.
Welcome to the Patron's Whisper.
Corsola being part Ghost type, shit like that. Like, that I think is like probably their single smartest idea they've had in a few years. There is
Jesus,
just like,
they're just gonna give me 1,500 ability points. Let's fucking go.
Here you are.
yeah, you get some heavy shit for some of this stuff.
You earned this.
There's some high end accessories in there that are pretty good. Like, I think it's one of the second to last ones. Way later, you can get the Genji gloves, which is just do 5% more damage. Everything does 5% more damages.
I mean, that's pretty good, but I have literally just been rocking the fucking scrolls. That's it. That's all I get. That's all I need.
Just more growth.
More growth. Let's go.
That's pretty solid. Yeah, that works too. I think I only took off my get extra AP like literally when I'm like, well, I'm gonna go do the final boss, so might as well. Yeah. Oh, you haven't even unlocked all your Bahamut abilities.
No, I haven't really been using them. I've been meaning to, but I forget.
I mean, they're pretty fun.
Uh,
I mean, Axe, like I think that's intentional. Like having beaten the game, because you weren't here for that earlier. I think the game scales just fine with the way the level works anyway. So like, it's not you don't really need huge number inflation. I would hope that you get maybe slightly better percentages when you do New Game Plus, because they do say they unlock new accessories and stuff. But you do also get a higher level cap, so I don't know if it matters. Yeah, if you do arcade mode, you can do dumb shit. Always unlocked the Giga Flare.
Like I said, I have.
Also find.
Oh, please go.
No, I was just gonna say, Giga Flare is obviously like a really cool, like, ultimate move as well. But like, I had a lot of fun with Satellite for a while as well. Just you get like It gives you like 2 little fucking options from Gradius, and they just do extra magic casts for you. The cool thing is, though, if you're using Mega Flare, Bahamut's iconic feat, you can also, you normally can't cast when doing that, but if you have satellite up, you can still shoot little satellite beams at people. It's pretty good. But yeah, like I said, Pokemon-wise, I feel like the one of the best ideas they've ever had is just new regional variants, and they could totally do that with a backport thing. And not to mention, you know, Pokemon have like changed types, moves have changed type. You'd get some fun out of that if you could do some different regional stuff. I am kind of curious, like, where they're gonna go to next. Like, is the 10th generation of Pokemon just gonna be France? Because we've done, you know, Britain and Spain.
I thought Y was France.
Oh, is Y in X and Y supposed to be France?
That's what
I'm
I
not
thought.
sure. It might be. I don't know. Yeah, Axe also said X and Y was France. I don't know.
Okay.
Like I said, I never made the jump to the 3DS, so I didn't play him, but I wasn't sure. That reads a little funny to me because the thing I remember about X and Y is all the Norse elements, you know. All right, people are being like, yes. Okay, so, yeah, that really does mean I have no fucking idea.
Empty hovel, Dhalmekia. Where the fuck is the empty hovel? I should probably go find it.
It'll be, if you unlock that part of your map, it'll be on your map. It's a literal, like, empty house somewhere, I think.
Let me open up them. Well, actually, to be fair, I don't think I've unlocked the entirety of the Dhalmekia map.
Yeah, Dhalmekia is a little tough. You gotta walk around some stuff.
Oh, God. I think I have seen exactly 2 shinies in my life. One was a shiny Pidgey. We were friends forever. And I don't remember.
Actually, this is a good question. Axe, have you played Scarlet and Violet? Like, that one's, I mean, I don't know if I would call it directly exploration focused, but it is open world, and there are, like, several sub-themes about going to specific weird areas and uncovering ancient secrets, so it's not perfect, obviously, but I
don't have it.
also think they wanted to kind of do a little bit of return to normalcy with gym leaders and gym trainers. Personally, as someone who's been kind of on and off with the franchise, I don't mind gym battles. I think they work as good, like, level checks and stuff. That, I mean, yeah, if you wanted to go, like, Pokemon Antarctica, that's probably better. It's like a side game.
Why do you want to go
They
to
could do that.
Antarctica?
I know. I think Axe is just thinking of weird places you could go in Pokemon.
I think this is Axe doing that weird thing he does where he always picks like the weirdest, most extreme options.
I'm trying to think. What even? I mean, the problem with going to the Arctic or Antarctic is I think we already got a lot of those.
Ooh, India can
Poke
be
animals. Yeah, that might be interesting. They've done
Yeah.
some foreshadowing there. There's a lot of cities with a lot of different climates because you got the valley and stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, there's a market in doing a China applicable one, but that probably depends on, you know, where you'd go and what you'd do.
Time grows short. The Lord Chief Justice's vultures are circling. We must strike now.
Yeah, so Axe goes, you know, Antarctica, not saying shit like, you know, South America and India.
He did say Scandinavia first, but
Okay.
that's not the one we elaborated on.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the sentiment. And it is revenge.
It is the one, and it is all that I have.
But would have lost.
I think if they actually did a quote-unquote Scandinavian, you know, a Nordic one, that would be very funny after this one. But that hasn't stopped anybody. Black and White was supposed to be, you know, America. You know, Unova was America themed, but their legendaries were based on, like, you know, Taoism and yin and yang stuff. So those parts don't necessarily overlap.
The people I speak of have withdrawn to Goten.
Canadian Pokemon would be pretty fun.
Yeah, I was actually thinking Canada too.
You could also do, I mean, I know this is like everybody's other, after I think a Hawaii Ape, I think a you know, Pacific Northwest one is the, like, the most common, if I was going to make a Pokemon region.
Really? Well, I guess the Pacific Northwest is a very diverse biome.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, because you'd get, like, if you did maybe even a little further south than just northwest, you could do some formatting of that in a Pokemon sense with, fucking with the geography and actually like get some interesting things, right? Because you'd have like one city would be in one corner, which would be close to all the ocean stuff, to ape like Seattle, right? You could have some further southern down cities to do some other stuff. You could have mountains you have to cross, and then you could put deserts and stuff on that side.
Yep.
Even though that's usually a little more southerly, but still like.
Well, no. We have our wastelands on the other side of the mountains here.
That's true. Yeah, you do have rain shadow as well, so you could just extrapolate that to a normal cartoony desert for Pokemon.
Then you gotta have the small rainforest. Yeah,
you'd call it a specific forest as well. I mean, I think Pokemon Florida would be funny. But yeah, you could probably do one focused on like the southern or central U.S. Though God knows what they would do with Pokemon Texas.
Gun Pokemon, let's go.
We finally gotten it, the ultimate one. Pokemon Gun. But yeah, there's quite a few things out there I think you could futz around with.
Be standing it. We owe him our lives. So if he's saying we ain't safe in, if that's what has to happen, then we get. I hope so. Oi!
Who's yelling "Oi" at me?
Oi!
You lot. Where's everyone else?
Scout, he's oiing.
They've gone with me. What's wrong?
Just come from the justices. Actually, yeah, I don't think there is a marsh in Scarlet or Violet, and I don't remember if there was one in Sword and Shield either.
It's way over to the east, through the wood. Promise us, Sid.
All right, where the fuck is this thing? Oh Jesus, all the way over here. Oh, I was there before. I explored over there randomly. I'll go here though. I'm sorry. What were you saying, Omega?
I was just musing to myself about stuff about like, whether there were swamps or not in Pokemon. There are no. Well, I was gonna joke. There's no poison swamps in Pokemon. The fucking regional variant of Wooper they did, and Clodsire, which I do have, by the way. What an adorable little baby boy he is. Where instead of being water, it's poison and then poison ground. So you can argue there are poison swamps in Pokemon, but no, it's been a while since there's been like swampy areas. I'm also personally thinking what the fuck they would call a Florida-themed Pokemon. I can only think in my head like. I mean, you'd probably want to do orange, but that only one version, so you'd have to make it two versions. Would you go the other citrus route, Pokemon Lemon and Lime? Is that allowed? Can you do that? I mean, I think it would work color-wise. God, now you're making me... Chad, I'm just thinking about how Pokemon games get designed. Do they pick the names first and then, like, design cover legendaries and shit? Is that how this works? I assume they would have to do that, right? But, damn. It probably means they got to pick pretty early. But yeah, Pokemon cool. We'll probably have other weird oddball.
Sorry,
Pokemon
I'm just
bugs.
thinking it's like, all right, so you're going to have Pokemon Lemon and Lime, and then their fucking remix are going to be called Sweet Lemon and Sour Lime. Just already thinking about remakes. How does Giga Flare work?
It shoots a big long beam, but you're kind of like turret mode. You can only get a little bit of articulation, but it goes through enemies. And yeah, you blast them good.
That was a good blast.
It also like slows time a little bit when you do it, and I think it also says it can stagger enemies out of certain attacks or abilities.
Well, you're eating a Bahamut Blast, of course it should be able to.
Yeah. Also, it's funny. It wasn't quite as telegraphed, but when you do the Bahamut boss fight, the boss version does do Mortal Coil a lot, which is the non-draconic name for Ankh-Morn.
Ah.
So yeah, there are Ankh-Morn references. It's just it's hidden a little.
Subtlety.
Yeah. So speaking about other games, been plunking away on. Like I said, I finished 16 earlier this week, so I've been able to poke some stuff. There's a few games on PS Plus.
Yeah.
I only played it for a very, very little bit, but I do agree with your comments about Dismantle. I don't know how we did indeed make a cozy little zombie survival game, but it actually seems pretty relaxed and straightforward.
Yep.
Maps the controller pretty well.
I was actually considering streaming that, but it's surprisingly slow pace. I don't know how entertained people would have been by it.
Yeah, it's not a like. I mean, you have a little bit of it, but it's not like a game that's big on like, oh fuck, a zombie, shit.
Yeah.
What about? Ooh, it's more like, okay, well, we're exploring. What do I need for something? Oh, I want to make a cook pot. Okay, let's hunt around for some ceramics, stuff like that. Oh no, there's a zombie in the kitchen.
No.
Oh no, I rested at a bonfire. The zombie's back.
Yeah. Oh, fun.
So solid game.
It is a solid game. Like I put several hours into it. Basically, Dismantle came out in 2020. Oh, that's a big curl.
Big cats.
Quentin, I'll hold it off. You go.
But it's basically a game where it is 1 out of 10. You usually have some sort of tool in your hand. You whack things, you break them down, and you use those broken down things to upgrade or build other things. And you just go through this loop of oh wait, shit.
It's got a pretty. Like he needs to think about not getting his ass beat by a cat.
Yeah, sorry.
It's got a pretty simple like upgrade / crafting loop. The game starts you out, you climb out of your bunker in the ground, and you're like, okay, I need to escape. Oh no, this bookshelf is too tough for my crowbar. I need to do a crowbar upgrade, break things down, and then move on from there. And it follows a pretty straightforward path. So it's very. Like, it does have different, like, quest objectives to track and stuff that I've seen, but it does seem like it's, while not necessarily strictly linear, it's definitely very goal-oriented, shall we say. Like, it's not like a free-form, crafting placing game. It's more like, okay, you're in the next area, you got to craft the next upgrades, do this stuff, go there, do some other things.
Yeah, no, that's my damage. It would go up. Wait, we're staggering already? Damn.
Yeah, no, man. Deadly takedown into gouge. A lot of fucking stagger damage.
That fight went a lot faster than I think it was supposed to.
That does happen sometimes.
But like I said, it's kind of fun because basically all you do is, like I said, you go around, you slap. They're not zombies; they're called ex-humans. You go slap them, they go down, and then you just go around beating up chairs, shelves, and stuff to get wood, electronics, cloth, and stuff, just so you can make the next tier of your upgrades, which will let you usually hit even more stuff to get different things. Like where I am right now, I am mostly looking out for steel. Steel being the tier 3 metal, because you first start out with scrap metal, then you find iron, now I'm on steel. Like a lot of things like have that, like you have like plant matter, scrap cloth, and then textiles and furs. You have, and then just like little weird other things like that. It is a little frustrating sometimes because I need like. Oh god, I need like so much steel, but where I am at in the game, I think I've because like I said, I am a completionist. I don't like leaving rooms until I have taken everything out that I fucking can. Sometimes even the walls. I stop doing that when I realize I'm not gonna get that much out of them. But there's a lot of there, and the fun thing, so it's a bit frustrating when I know I'm not gonna be finding any steel here, but I am stubbornly not wanting to go on until I get more shit. But on the flip side, the other thing about this is it's good if you do that because breaking stuff gives you experience. Just breaking it. You break it, you get experience. When you store it, that gives you experience. And when you level up, you don't necessarily level up any stats. Usually what leveling up does is gives you more things to invent, which might help you in some way or another.
Yeah, I think the game really lives up to its namesake of Dismantle, where it's like you'll be taken apart. you'll be breaking some staff down.
Here's up, and like I said, you just go from house to house, location to locations, and it's comfy. Like I can easily lose hours in it as I just methodically go through place to place, looking for stuff.
So yeah, I had a lot of games I could be getting, so I'm debating what I'm gonna do after this and get back to it, because obviously, like I said, I downloaded that one, I tried it out a little, so I could get back into that. There is currently a Yu-Gi-Oh event going on that I've been putting some time in, but I did some of that before we streamed, and I think I'm going to be done with that for the day. As I had some oddball misclicks and some fuck-ups and stuff, and also sometimes you just get some slow games, and you're just like, okay, we're done here.
Is Lost Wing just literally lost?
Well, it's been Aether flooded, and I don't know if we know how to fix that.
Quentin! God damn it! This is not nice. I don't like this.
Some scooples. But also a game that I kind of put off for 16 that I've been getting in and out of because it was a free release a couple months ago. Humanity, the puzzle game.
B-Dog.
Played a little bit of that a little. Yeah, that one, I didn't really talk about it when I did the first bit, but I've played it off and on. It's a stage-based puzzle game, so, like, it's it's fun. It's got, I think, what a lot of these stuff is good at, of just, like, little mild brain teasers. They hand you a handful of, a limited number of tools, and is like, all right, figure it out. I do like that they have a feature where if you want to, like, if you are just doing a puzzle to, like, complete it and move on, they do have a solution video baked into every puzzle.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you ever, like, get totally brain blasted, or even if you just want to watch it far enough to be like, okay. So the basic mechanic, it was shown in trailers, but to explain to people who haven't watched it, in Humanity, you are a dog. You are a glowing Shiba Inu of light. You must lead people out of glowing doors into glowing squares where they get sucked up into the testing center. In the testing center, by the way, they just kind of mill around under a blue ball of light, so I don't think they're, like, in peril or anything, okay? There does seem to be a little bit of narrative. I don't necessarily know where we're going, but it's not, like, sinister or anything, I don't think. But so your goal is to get humans to go from door of light to square. The game literally warns you, don't worry if they fucking fall off. They just come back out through the door, okay? Don't worry about it. So, like, you're not like, don't have, like, a time limit or anything. The main thing is that to advance certain levels in the story and unlock new features, some of which are very handy, like actually progress gameplay stuff, you have to get what are called goldies, which are really tall golden men. Those are permanently missable. If you accidentally walk one of them off the map, he's fucking lost. The only way to get him back is if you restart.
I think I like it.
But so, there are some stages where there are, multiple glowing white doorways of humans coming out. So, like, even if you just want to watch that little video just to see where, like, the starting move is, you can do that too. And I think that's interesting. They've got 2 stage resets. You can reset and remove all commands, or reset and keep your commands. And I'm like, that's handy. Thank you. So, like, there's some good work there, I think. And it's got all the typical commands you'd expect. Like, the most basic command is just an arrow. You press square to go bork, and you put an arrow in the direction you want, and the humans move in that direction. You can make them jump or long jump. You can add, like, one of the latest ones I got is, like, float, so you can, lighten gravity so they can float over short gaps or jump farther, stuff like that. Eventually, you get a quote-unquote possession ability. You can become completely ethereal and hitch a ride on a body of a human. You don't get to control them, but they can climb up if you've got them set up to, like, make really long jumps or climb vertical surfaces that you can't as a dog. That's how you, like, advance yourself. So yeah, it's got all the typical stuff you'd like. So it's just, I've been doing a few stages here and there, and I'm just like, yeah, this is nice. Also, speaking of comfy, very comfy, because it's got that kind of, like, kitschy, Weeble Warble type soundtrack, just kind of like bop bop bop. Subtle sounds, relaxing visuals, low intensity. It's cool. I will probably be, eventually be beating as much of it as I care to. We'll see if it breaks my brain.
Mhm.
But I'm actually not bad with puzzle games that are kind of fixed solution or have flexible stuff. It's mostly just like getting used to the tool set and figuring it out. Some games I think do this better than others. So the way this game is definitely designed, it gives you like definite alternatives. And while you do need a certain amount of goldies to progress, I don't think it's like, so far it hasn't been 100% completion. So in some maps you can just be like, all right, I don't want to do this map right now. Or it can be like, okay, I'm going to do this map, but I'm not going to do the extra steps for the goldie scores. So it's fairly approachable. Like I said, check it out if you got PS Plus. It was a day and date game, I think, for extra. So it's cute. I like it. You were a dog. And like I said, when you issue commands, you do so by going bork. So that's a fun one. For big games I want to play on discs, I'm debating whether or not I want to finally start fucking Tactics Ogre, or I also have been thinking about getting back into I don't know. Will Elden Ring help me get in the mindset for AC later?
Maybe.
Who knows?
We can start again.
Yeah. One game I probably won't be getting back into is Gundam Evolution, because they've announced end of service.
All things must come to an end, I guess.
Yep. Going to be ending service in, I mean, it's not for a while. I think they announced well ahead of time it'll be November. But yeah, the game's only going to basically be out like a year. Which is interesting. I did actually try it out because it is free to play. I think gameplay-wise, it was pretty good. And I think it had a fairly diverse spread of like suits from series and little cosmetics and cute touches and stuff. Unfortunately, I think they went a little too hard on the battle pass stuff. And like they were adding new suits every season or so. But if you were completely free to play, the amount you would have to do to actually like buy a new suit was like literally almost all of your currency from just leveling up your free battle pass and stuff. So it like really incentivized doing a little bit of the the spending, which is a shame.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm kind of curious about like where they're gonna go next, because like I said, I think in terms of like a team-based basically hero shooter, because only one person could play each mobile suit, even if they were mass production, which is funny. It was fairly diverse. So there were a couple different classes, different suits I was grokking, and I'm like, okay, this seems solid, but it definitely was like, it didn't suck me back in because it just seemed like such a grind, and that's like, you have to have a really fucking good game if you're gonna keep people on the grind. And especially I think you have to have like multiple shit for people to care about that. Like people who were all in on Overwatch was because they really liked the characters and were hoping for more story stuff. I think Destiny kind of lives off again the character elements and the cool aesthetics, all the different sci-fi weird shit they do, and the characters and stuff. So that kind of keeps people sucking in. Plus Bungie makes good shooty shoot bop games. I'm still anticipating that I don't know what the fucking extraction shooter is, but I'll play it for Marathon. I just really hope they let me dual wield shotguns again, like Marathon 2. But I'm hopeful they will remember some of that stuff. But yeah, like Bungie makes good games, so that's solid. But yeah, like there's some stuff there that's very interesting. Axe saying he really loves ODST. Interesting. I mean, I really love ODST's soundtrack, but yeah. But yeah, no. So like, you might be too used to modern shooters. This is a disconnect. I remember I wasn't fully invested in it, but I was adjacent to a very long running conversation in another place somewhere, which basically boiled down to a guy did not like Hideo Kojima's personal style of making games, and thus was for some reason unable to like objectively acknowledge that Metal Gear Solid as a series has made a huge impact on gaming, and like is like, I think those games are very stylized. I think it would be appropriate to say that you cannot like Kojima's style, because it is very, like, dialogue heavy, exposition heavy. Though I think he does kind of transition out of the using codec calls for quite as much exposition as the games get further and further on, right? Because he actually can do more animation and stuff. Get a little more cinematic. To the point where, like, I mean, the cassette tapes still exist in 5, but, like, those are entirely optional. And you can play them in the open world while you're doing shit. But, like, it was just one of those awkward conversations where, like, this guy was coming at it from, like, oh, I don't like Kojima, and I don't really grok, David Lynch either. I think it's an idiosyncratic style, but I think it's very basic. And a lot of people, including myself at some points, were just like, yeah, if you think Metal Gear Solid feels basic, it's probably because those games, set a lot of trends and tones. A lot of games that are vaguely stealthy or vaguely military, like, copied a lot of gameplay and even plot stylings from it. Like, at one point he was like, yeah, I don't know, I didn't like Metal Gear Solid 2 because there was a lot of dialogue about how, the government's bad and doing shadowy shit. And, like, yeah, that's not as deep as you think. And people were like, this game was made before 9/11. Things, literally, times were different. And I chimed in at one point and was like, funnily enough, this is actually what the theme of Metal Gear Solid 3 is supposed to be. This is what scene is. That things only have certain qualities that only exist in the time frame they come out in or when they're alive. And when we're past that point, that information isn't carried on. And, like, yeah.
What are the means? What do they mean?
Yeah, but, like, that's definitely a thing that can happen with older games where just, like, you don't realize how impactful they were. And so, when you play them, you're like, oh, they just seem kind of normal. Or it even seems restrictive because, we've iterated and adapted. But yeah, like, talking about Gundam Evolution's grind, like, I think that is kind of why I got out, because I was like, this seems cool, but, I'm not really super invested. Also, to be fair, they were kind of slow rolling some of the suits. Obviously, you have to balance because it's all PvP for the most part.
There's the empty
so,
hovel.
like,
okay, I finally found the fucking area. Shit.
Yeah, that's Pooch down there. There's the empty hovel. It's literally a house.
All right. Let's go fight bees.
But what I was saying was, this is funny because there's a lot of bees. It's not just one bee. It's many bee are the notorious mark. But yeah, like, it. Personally, I think I said this, that if they ever added the Easy 8 from 8th MS Team, I would be like, I'll spend money on that. And I don't think they ever actually got around to adding any production times. I don't think they got around to adding any suits from G-Witch. So, like, that's, their new Hoppanist thing, which was very popular. So I think they were kind of like, it was an okay concept, but the way they were doing content rollouts and the grind level was like, they were really asking for you to be a real big diehard and go all in on this game. And it's like, I don't know if I'm as much of a Gundam head to go all in on this game when there are other games I could get into. Like, games ask a lot from your time these days, and you got to be careful with that. I think Diablo 4 just had a big update I talked about the other day that, like, nerfed a lot of stuff, which, while possibly was broken, they didn't, like, raise up any underperforming, like, strategies or tricks either, so they just generally slowed the game down. And it's like, why would you do that? This is Diablo. People don't want to be slow, they want to be fast. They want to level up more, get more shit. Do more runs.
All right, where are these fucking bugs?
I think they're in the backyard.
Can I get to the backyard?
Yeah, there should be an area technically that is, like, in the behind map. I think it might be that big square zone off to the side a little bit.
Oh, this side?
Yeah. Which is not that. I know that doesn't look like it's technically the empty hovel.
Oh yeah, I see bugs flying around now.
There you go. Now there. This navigation in Final Fantasy 16 is not hard, but it is a little weird sometimes. Where they say, notorious marks are, is not always necessarily exactly where they are. And you don't get any preamble to it. If you do find them and run away,
acupuncture.
Yeah. Don't watch out. Yeah, puncture you.
Yeah, no, it's like acupuncture, but apipunction, you know, like apiary, you know, beekeeping.
Yeah. A lot of good puns. I'm sure that was a Koji Fox special. He or somebody on his team was like, we can make a pun here. But yeah, so Gundam Evolution shutting down after like a year. It's funny.
Or,
especially because Armored Core is gonna come out soon, and that's probably gonna like put mecha games back in everybody's like brains.
Mecha Brain. Titan Block Bug!
Big Punch Bug.
Ooh, I got stabbed.
Yeah, they do that. And then Clive gets a little poisoned, has to take a brief nap.
I do think I like Impulse, and I do like Giga Flare, but I don't think I'm a fan of Wings of Light.
Of Mega Flaring? Yeah, it's a little slow. Okay, you can make it build faster by getting precision dodges while in Mega Flare mode. That does a Mega Flare dodge, and it gives you like a whole bar, but yeah, that again requires enemies to do stuff. I think like I said before, the Zantetsuken bar is a much better version of that system because that just builds as you hit guys with either your normal attack string while you've got it turned on, or you do Odin-specific moves. Whereas Mega Flare is a little slower to work. It's really cool when you pull off a high-level Mega Flare, but it takes a while. Yeah, bully that bug.
Oh, he still got me. Full bitch.
Alright. Axis is really if he was late for TTRPG stuff. You were not, but I don't know how much to super talk about. I'm getting a little hungry.
No,
We've been going for like 3 hours. We got some stuff.
Like, I don't think we really got much to talk about TTRPGs. Like, I haven't really been working on mine at all because guess what? I've been busy with like LB6 and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I am working more on the actual setting though, because I did ask a couple people in our cabal what they thought was more important to a game for them, whether it was the mechanics or the setting, and a couple people said setting. Axe decided to answer with both, and I was like, this is not what I actually asked, my dude. But Aaron and Robin both chimed in saying setting, and you know, the setting is what makes them really dig it. So I've been sitting down and like trying to hammer out how exactly my quote-unquote zombie apocalypse happened, and you know, the ramifications about that, which is making me do a lot more research than I realized.
That absolutely happens.
Yeah,
the research hole is wide.
The research hole is wide. So there's been a lot more note-taking, but nothing actually concrete, and I haven't worked on mechanics basically at all. I did pull up your Singularity War document, and I've been like looking at the talents and stuff there because I am jonesing for that sci-fi in a way. Like I said, I did have a lot of fun with the Sprawl, and you know, Claymore is probably one of my favorite characters.
He's pretty fun, yeah.
So being able to make Claymore a 2.0 is something that I am quite keen on.
Yeah, I've called my shot that I will probably get back to writing Singularity War, you know, the Genesis version, because that'll give us a more like concrete level curve and story stuff we're all experienced out now.
Yeah.
Not to disparage the Sprawl too much, because it is a fun game, but it is, like a lot of Powered by the Apocalypse games, very clearly designed for like fast and loose play with very disposable characters, and you move stories fast, and that's not really how a lot of our group plays it. We seem to prefer longer arcs and you know, even sometimes more indefinite play as opposed to like, well, when we hit a lot of corporate clocks, bad stuff's supposed to happen. What kind of bad stuff? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But bad stuff's going to happen if you don't do something about it. The game is designed to have those ticking elements, which is appropriate for Cyberpunk in general. But I don't know if sometimes all the clocks like codify that a little too hard, But yeah, when Cyberpunk 2.0 / Phantom Liberty comes out, that will definitely be probably like, well, because it'll be like a 2.0 version. I think I'm going to have to play Cyberpunk 2077 all over again. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I have to do it all again.
I probably will as well.
It will be an no because they're going to completely rebuild the fucking game, so. Big gameplay changes. We'll find out, I guess, exactly what the difference is.
Axe, I asked which was more important, A or B. It was not a complex question.
Yeah, it's funny. I officially like to say I do not enjoy to rag on Axe too hard. And I don't, necessarily want anybody to gang up on him either. But it is a funny Axe thing involving in our game group. Axe has like the duality of man, you've got the duality of Axe. Sometimes Axe will say stuff or throw stuff out just on instinct before he's even like fully processed some of his ideas. And you have to just be like, what the fuck, Axe? Because, and when you talk about it, he's like, no, you're right. I clearly wasn't thinking about that. And then other times Axe will super overthink answers. And it's like, that's not really helpful right now. This was meant to be a straightforward question. When thinking of what Lucky was getting at when he's like thinking of his specific, gaming thing is like, what would, for what I am working on, what would draw more people? Will people be interested purely in the mechanical trappings or the story, the setting and stuff, the narratives we can make? And like, yes, I think that the answer being A or B, like being like, well, it could be either really. Yeah. But like, you've been listening to Lucky talk about this. I don't think he's designing like a truly generic zombie apocalypse mechanics. He would be going there. Like, honestly, my genuine answer probably is it actually could be either or.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been attracted to games because of their setting, and I've also been attracted to games because of their mechanics. But if I'm going to answer it like for Lucky's needs, I also would probably be with Axe and say that I'm more interested in like finding out mechanically what you were thinking about, and because I'll just be jamming with my friends. But I think that the asking the setting question for some people is more productive. Then again, sometimes you have this question, like you asked Loth this question, and he talked about his answer, and you were like, you didn't directly answer my question, but I learned all I need to know from what you said. You're just here to have fun with the boys and do some weird shit. Got it. And it was like, yeah, no, that's a Loth answer. We're here to roll dice and chew bubble gum. And I am not all out of gum. And for me, like I said, I brought this up last week technically, but I am sitting on a 7-page like I said, like questionnaire guide, whatever for Rain. And my wrist and hand is doing better finally. So I don't know if people have free time, we can probably work out that set sometime. I do have it set up to link. I could show people if they really want to read it and read ahead and think about things. But also, I literally have in my notes like, hey, be careful about like hyperfixating or getting too ahead of yourself on something, because I got a lot of questions and we're gonna have a lot of circle improv stuff. So you literally don't know what will come up.
I seem to recall that was you, Gav.
Yeah, that's my big boy. Hug him out.
Any trouble on the road?
No, this is a powerful scene because Gav, Mid, and
I knew you'd come.
Uncle are in it. Uncle Byron.
Is that who I think it is? Yes.
Allow me to introduce my brother, Joshua.
Clive's told me all about you. Or even listening most of the time. Name's
Mid, you little fucking gremlin.
Everyone calls me Mid.
Oh!
I can't tell if Joshua is fucking with Mid or he's flirting with. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh.
Yes,
Uncle Byron.
that's right, Uncle.
It's really you. I never thought I'd
It's the bros.
Ah, such a good uncle.
Uncle Bros.
So these are cash
Yeah, like I said, I have my question list, but like I want to be careful about getting people getting too detailed ahead of time, because if you're not actually collabing, you could cause issues where, I don't know, you have world buildings that are contradictory because, you know, people are still early and aren't talking about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I don't, like I said, I have very arguably directly rules-related questions about Reign, so I don't know if people are prepared for those yet either. So I don't know. Like I said, we'll probably have to think about the way the game handles the sorcery rules, which is usually formed into like schools and concepts and stuff, which are tied to specific skills. So it'll probably be like a thing you gotta fucking think about.
Oh no, thinking.
I do still have to edit this audio. I don't know how long that'll take. We've been going for like good what's up time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna get some snacks and then probably, you know, like I said, go back into some games and stuff I haven't hit up.
And quickly. What do you propose?
But yeah, so
We split into two
no real plunderbusses. We're working on Jensekai. That's back to coming out. Hopefully we have another session this week. That's all written though for me, so we'll see some more fun stuff.
Not at all.
Last time, a lot of setup, but we'll get some payout.
Understood. And what of us? Mid, is she fit to sail?
The ship, the mythological
Anything
boat
else?
needed a few more tweaks.
I don't think so.
Then you better work fast. Even if we do reach the
Well, you know, like I said, we're like 3:15, 3:10.
To me.
You're still playing 16, so I'm sure you'll keep on keeping on there.
I mean, if people want to do something, like, I'm not committed to playing Reign, though, yet, like, as I said.
You stuck with me, Byron?
That's Lord Rossfield, you little gutter snipe!
So... But if you guys decide to do that stuff, I'll definitely listen in.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm planning on putting in a lot of 16 time, so...
Yeah,
but
that's
I
okay.
am
give
probably
myself
after,
some-
like, immediately after this, I am probably also gonna do me a food.
Food is good.
Yes.
Let's get out of here. Let's do some food and go about our business, and see about stuff.
All right, Torgal. Let's find those
Okay.
survivors.
All right. Well, that means it's probably time for outruns. A little something like this. Hey, if you are watching this video, like it. If you are new here, subscribe it.
Chance against those things.
We also have comments and a Discord. I know a lot of people don't leave a lot of post-live stream comments, but you can do that, and you can also access our Discord. You can hit us up on Patreon, and you can also join our channel membership for membership badges and emotes. Boy, that snack attack, it really hit me hard. I have been kind of up and down on sleeping lately because it's been fucking hot. Everybody stay safe. Drink lots of water. Stay in the shade. Circulate your air. It's hot, okay? And I guess with that public safety warning, that's about it for us. So we'll be seeing you next time.
Have a good night, everybody.